Auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
The voice of Sacramento sports is back.
Hear Grant Napear every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Grant's back, and here to win. It's the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Now, Grant Napear.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Jerry Reynolds, Sean Salisbury, joining me this afternoon. I've got my top 5 teams in the NFL. I've got my worst 5 teams in the NFL. We talk about last night's game, which was a thriller. Oh, and guess what? If we don't have enough to talk about, it's hockey season. I love it. The National Hockey League season dropped the puck tonight. So that's going on. Tomorrow, the Kings open up preseason play against the Toronto Raptors. Ryan was out at practice today. We'll have some sound a little bit later in the show. And, of course, we welcome your phone calls at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. I'm very happy the Jaguars won last night, not because I picked them or anything like that. The missed pass interference call in the fourth quarter, which enabled the Chiefs to score their last touchdown. And it was such a bad missed call. Like, you can't miss a call like that. And I'm okay with officials making mistakes because it's part of life. I mean, the players make mistakes. Why should we assume that the officials have to be perfect? I mean, why would we not expect the same with our athletes? I mean, we expect them to make mistakes, right? Fumble, throw interceptions, commit penalties. We expect officials to make mistakes. They're not robots. But a blatant pass interference call that was not made enabled the Chiefs to have the ball in the red zone, and less than a minute later, they scored a huge touchdown and it looked like, oh, wow. Well, the Jaguars, with a tremendous drive after the Chiefs went ahead, I mean, an incredible drive by the Jaguars. They go down the field. Trevor Lawrence, after stumbling, gets in for the go-ahead score and the final of 31-28. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars for real? Well, here's what they are. They're 4-1. in a division that I think most people thought, this division's going to be really bad. Oh, it's going to be the worst division in football, right? How about the Indianapolis Colts at 4-1? How about the Jaguars at 4-1? I mean, didn't we all think the AFC South was going to be the worst division in football? Most of us did, right? Not anymore. Think about that. 4-1 and 4-1. That's really impressive. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that game last night. So help me out here. The Cincinnati Bengals are 2-3. They're behind Pittsburgh at 3 up and 1 down. And they make a trade to acquire Joe Flacco from the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco at this point in his career is a better option than Jake Browning or maybe pick 6 Jameis Winston, who I would think would be available from the Giants. I don't really understand this move. I really don't. I'm not sure it really matters with the Bengals because their defense is so bad. I don't think it really is going to make that big of a difference. What I do know is that division, which we thought would be very, very good, is not very good. And part of the reason, of course, is Joe Burrow's injury that has the Bengals at 2-3. And then, of course, Baltimore's been awful. They've been awful. And I'm not even going to wait and tease my worst 5 games or my worst 5 teams in the NFL. I'm going to do it in my opening segment because I want to get some conversation on this. And I want to go back to week 1 of the National Football League. And I always say, you know what? Don't overreact in week 1. Don't go crazy. Don't go overboard. There's more overreaction in the first game and the first week of the National Football League than in any other sport. It just is. Because you only play 17, and once the Super Bowl is over, we are starved for football. We're starved for football. And then the opening week gets here, and you can't wait, and you see a game like Buffalo and Baltimore, and we're all thinking, wow, this is going to be a preview of maybe the AFC Championship. It's going to be, these 2 teams are going to go neck and neck along with Kansas City maybe or one other team in the AFC. And this is what it's going to be every single week. Lamar Jackson for Baltimore, Josh Allen for Buffalo. And these are going to be the 2 teams that you focus on throughout the season. And then what happens? Derrick Henry fumbles the ball. 4th quarter, under 4 minutes left. And little did we know at the time that that would be basically the Baltimore Ravens season in a nutshell in the first quarter of the season. That was going to be a repetitive situation for the Baltimore Ravens that would turn their season upside down. And I've talked to you about this. After that game and during that game, I'm watching the game with my buddy, and I said, wow, Baltimore is going to be really hard to beat this year. And I said, well, they got, and even though I had some issues with their defense, I just thought offensively they were going to be so dynamic that their defense would get better, they would find themselves, and they would be fine. Well, here we are through 5 weeks of the season. The Bills, who got a gift that night, are 4-1. And, you know, the Bills have not played great. They really haven't. They barely beat Miami, a bad football team. They just lost to New England. I mean, yeah, they have destroyed a couple of teams, but, you know, I think about that Miami game. They were vulnerable. They could have very easily lost in Buffalo. They did lose to New England. So I'm thinking, you know, Buffalo, offensively, they're really good, but defensively, they've got some lapses. But they are 4-1. So I talk about the worst teams in the National Football League through 5 weeks. And they change every week. But generally speaking, after 4 weeks or 5 weeks, we have a really good read on a team. It's not often that a team will look so bad in the first 4 to 5 weeks, and then all of a sudden they look so good. It doesn't really go like that. Now, it can go the other way, and it does happen. We saw it with the Philadelphia Eagles a couple of years ago, where their season disintegrated, absolutely disintegrated, after the halfway point. They just became a different team. So, as we talk about the NFL, as we talk about last night's game, in which Jacksonville won and they're now 4-1. I think a lot of people thought Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, they didn't see the growth, and they thought that they would be a team that would really not be a playoff type of a football team, with the exception of maybe being in such a bad division that maybe 9 wins would win the division. So a lot of people were wrong on that. And then you have teams like the Jets. And so I'm not even going to waste my time today. I'm not even going to have you wait, because there are a lot of bad teams in the National Football League. And I've tried to pick 5 teams that are the worst teams in the NFL. And you know what? I can't just pick 5 teams, because there are so many bad teams in the NFL led by the New York Jets who have been a disaster. So you bring in Aaron Glenn, you have this quote-unquote new culture, and you bring in Justin Fields from Pittsburgh, where, all of a sudden now we got a kid that was drafted out of Ohio State. Oh, he's going to be great for the Bears. No. Oh, no problem. He's going to find a home in Pittsburgh. No. Oh, no problem. He'll go to the Jets with a new coach in Aaron Glenn, and he'll resurrect his career, and he'll be the new fan favorite in New York. No. You've got a Jets team that is just awful on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Plain and simple. They're awful. Defensively, they're awful. Offensively, they don't score enough. They turn the ball over. They commit penalties. And they just look like a football team that is in complete disarray. So they are, without question, the worst team in the National Football League. Now, they're the only team that has not won a game through 5 weeks of the season. And I try to come up with 4 other teams. And you know what? It's really hard to pick 4 teams instead of 5 teams or 6 teams. And the reason for that is there's another team within that division that's also really, really bad, and that's the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are 1-4, and I thought that the best game that they have played this year was a game that they lost, the game that they lost to Buffalo. But they are 1-4. They're one of the very worst teams in the National Football League. The biggest surprise of a team that is one of the worst 5 teams in the NFL, and I can't believe I'm saying this after watching the game on the opening Sunday night of the NFL season, the Baltimore Ravens. I know Lamar Jackson is currently hurt, but they were bad before Lamar Jackson got hurt. Their defense is atrocious. How bad is the Baltimore Ravens defense? They have allowed 177 points through 5 games. Think about that. 177 points through 5 games. You know who the next worst defense is, or team that points allowed? The Jets with 157. The Ravens have allowed 20 more points than the dismal 0-5 Jets. The Baltimore Ravens are one of the worst teams in the National Football League. They look pathetic. They look lost. They look uninspired. And they can't stop anyone. Another team that is right there as the worst team in the National Football League, the Tennessee Titans. I'm well aware that they won in Arizona, but the only reason why they won in Arizona is because of a bonehead, inexplicable, stupid mistake by a running back that has been getting a lot of attention over the last 48 hours. And I'm going to talk more about this in just a moment. So I'm going to put that on the back burner for right now, and we're going to get to that. That's the only reason why the Tennessee Titans have a win. So they are, to me, in the same category as the Jets, but I expected that from the Titans. So, if I'm a fan of the Titans, I'm not losing sleep, okay? Who else is in that category? The New York Football Giants. They are 1-4. They were bad in week 1 against Washington. They should have beat the Cowboys in week 2, but they lost. They were horrible in week 3, in which Russell Wilson ended up losing his job. They won in week 4 against the Chargers. And then they committed 5 turnovers in 5 consecutive possessions Sunday against the Saints. And they lost to a Saints team that won their first game. The Giants are 1-4, and they're in that group of one of the worst teams in the National Football League. And so I had to extend this by 1, and I picked the Las Vegas Raiders, who after beating the New England Patriots to open up the season, have now dropped 4 in a row, and they got humiliated, annihilated against the Indianapolis Colts. Those are your worst teams in the National Football League. Now, you might say, Napes, why don't you pick Cleveland? Well, I didn't pick Cleveland because they've been competitive in their losses for the most part. And their point differential, again, because their offense is so bad, their defense is good enough where they keep them in games. They should have beat Cincinnati in week 1. They lost on special teams, right? They beat Green Bay at home. They were very competitive overseas against the Minnesota Vikings in Ireland or in London, wherever the heck the game was. It was London, I beg your pardon. The Vikings played the Steelers in Ireland the week before. So at least the Browns, other than the Baltimore game, have been pretty competitive. So I can't include them in the worst teams in the National Football League. But I can certainly include the Raiders, the Titans, the Ravens, the Giants, the Jets, and Miami. I know that's 6 teams, but I can't take one of those teams out because the Dolphins stink, right? Baltimore's horrible. Tennessee's awful. The Raiders are awful. And the Giants and Jets are awful. So coming up in a little bit, I'm going to give you my 5 top teams. I see on the text line, Jets, Raiders, Saints, Bengals, Ravens, Panthers, Titans. Well, that's too many teams. I mean, now you're giving me too many teams. That's 7. And as far as the Saints, I disagree with you on the Saints for this reason. The Saints have actually been competitive. All right, more so than some of the other teams that I mentioned. So I didn't pick the Saints for that reason. They lost to Arizona in a very tight game, 20-13. They lost to the Niners in a very tight game where they almost won the game, 26-21. They had a rough go at Seattle, but that's, and they had a rough go at Buffalo, and then they beat the Giants. So in 3 of their 5 games, they've been right there, and one of them they won. So I can't pick the Saints. That's me personally. I can't do it. What do you think? At 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. All right, now to what I wanted to get to. And I can't believe that this happened. I just can't believe it. Now, we talk about the soft society that we live in today. Like, what is going on? Seriously. Like, we have to have a coach come out and apologize after Amari DiMercato dropped the ball at the goal line and then was seen yelling at DiMercato near the bench area. I'm talking about Jonathan Gannon, who said he was dead wrong. No, you're not dead wrong, okay? You're soft. That's what you are, and you have a soft football team. That's why your team stinks, all right? You want to talk about leadership? You apologize? What kind of society are we living in where a coach now has to feel bad because he yelled at a professional football player? Really? You're sorry? Are you kidding me? Because you yelled at DiMercato? You know what? DiMercato should be lucky that he's still on the roster. He cost the team a game. The Arizona Cardinals are 2-3 instead of 3-2 because of one person. And I don't want to hear about the defense, okay? I don't want to hear about how bad the Cardinals defense was. The bottom line is, with 12 minutes left, the score would have been 28-6 against a rookie quarterback and a bad football team in Tennessee. The game was over. It was over. And I got to have Jonathan Gannon come out and apologize, saying that he apologized to his team in the meeting on Monday and apologized in front of the media. Are you kidding me? Seriously? Like, you can't make this up. I mean, it's unbelievable. Seriously. He said this yesterday, quote, "I woke up this morning and didn't feel great about it, honestly. I just told the team I kind of let the moment of what happened get the better of me there. Obviously, I try to be emotionally stable and calm because my job is to solve problems during a game and lead the charge on that. So it's not really who I am, who I want to be, and I told the guys that today. So it's a mistake by me, and it's just like everybody in there, everybody made some type of mistake yesterday, which culminates to why we didn't win the game, and we can't let it happen moving forward. Would someone please explain to me how a coach in the National Football League yelling at a player is a mistake? Would you help me out there? Would you please help me out there? How is that a mistake? How is it that a NFL coach yells at a player on the sideline for making an egregious, awful, stupid mistake that cost his team dearly? Now, the game wasn't over at that point. The Cardinals, during the yelling of Gannon to DeMercado, it still looked like Arizona would win the game at that point. Well, if it's the job of the coach to be emotionally stable because your job is to solve problems during a game and lead the charge of that, you did a horrible, horrible job on Sunday because your team fell apart and your team was terrible and your team allowed the Tennessee Titans to come back from a 21-6 fourth quarter lead. All right, that's right. You were up 21-6 with just over 12 minutes left and you lost. So you did a horrible job. That's number one. Number two, the game was lost at that moment that your running back decided to be Mr. Joe Cool. And you are apologizing to your team? Unfreaking believable. I want to get your reaction to that when we come back. 916-779-0929. But I want to tell you about Village Financial Group because I love talking about Spencer Grimmon's team because I've known him for so long. 25 years I've known Spence. That's when he began his family-owned business. And whether you're looking for a home equity line of credit, are you buying a home? Are you selling a home? Well, Spencer is very, very experienced. As I said, he opened up his business 25 years ago. And he is a financing specialist, and he does have access to private money. You can check out their website, Village Financial Group, at vfgloans.com, and you can then look at everything they will do for you and find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. You can text Spence, he's okay with that, or call him at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. I want your reaction to that when we come back. Either the text line or call the show at 916-779-0929. We'll talk some Kings basketball and NBA in hour number 2 with Jerry Reynolds, Sean Salisbury in the 5 o'clock hour, Grant's Rant as well, all on the Tuesday edition of the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods. GUBRUDS, thebrutes.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
All right, the text message, I believe the apology came from backlash to the fact on video that it shows that he aggressively bumped or even hit the running back as he's tearing into him. Oh, stop it, would you please? Because he made contact with his arm. Oh, come on. I mean, what kind of, Rhino, help me out here. What's your take on this?
My take's the same as you. My only question is, in basketball, sometimes we see a really weird ejection where it doesn't look like there was much of an exchange, and we don't know what the coach said to the player. Could that be the nuance here?
Well, I know what the coach said to the player here. I don't need a translation. I know exactly what the coach was saying to the player, and it was, exactly what I would have said to the player. Personally, I would have cut the player. I was very open about this. Greg Olson, by the way, who's one of the top analysts on Fox Sports, the NFL on Fox, said the same thing. All right, so I'm in Greg Olson's neighborhood. I would have cut the player. I would not allow that on my football team. I just wouldn't. Now, I would have made it very clear before the season began that would be the penalty for doing something as stupid as that. But now all of a sudden I gotta get messages. And by the way, I do appreciate the text message. Don't get me wrong. But because he made contact with his arm, seriously? Well, come on. We're talking about the National Football League. We're talking about a running back here. We made contact with the arm. I got to have an apology from a coach because he made contact with his running back's arm in a verbal spat. Who just cost his team a touchdown that would have iced the game. Please. How soft are we as a society?
Well, how often do we see Travis Kelce and Andy Reid bumping into each other
and
having a disagreement?
It just happened the other night. It happened the the Giants game on Sunday night. I'm really happy you brought that up. I'm very happy you brought that up because it just happened in the game a week ago in New York on Sunday Night Football. All right, Sunday Night Football, the only game on, and people talked about it the next day, and Andy Reid downplayed it, and basically said, I love that, we need emotion, and they bumped into each other, no problem. Nobody said a word about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that, it's not like making contact with an official. It's much different than that.
Exactly. But I have a head coach having to apologize publicly and to his team for that?
Well, again,
seriously?
Well, the only thing that makes me think maybe he said something that the team didn't, they don't agree with what he did, but maybe what he said within that moment crossed the line. That would be the only logical conclusion that I can think of that would lead to an apology.
If he said something that crossed the line, it would have been made public already because there are microphones all over the sidelines. I guarantee you that there is sound of exactly what he said somewhere. I guarantee you that I shouldn't say guarantee. I'm 99% certain that if he said something that really crossed the line, it would have been made public now by somebody on the sideline.
See, I'm surprised that you and Greg Olson aren't getting more traction. I don't mean that because of what you said about this situation. I'm surprised coaches in general have not already put that into effect. If you do that, you're done. Like, go. Forrest Gump, down the tunnel, out of here. It happens. We're going to see it again this season, Grant. I promise you, we will see it again.
Can you imagine Bill Parcells, who used to do that all the time, apologizing for yelling at a player and making contact with his arm? I mean, it's unbelievable to me. And I understand that we're in different times, but no, we're only in different times because of a woke society. Like, since when is it not okay for a coach to yell at a player? Like, why is that such a bad thing? I don't know about you, Ryan, but, I played sports in high school and I played lacrosse in college. And I used to get yelled at all the time. I used to have my face mask grabbed. I used to have coaches slap me on the side of the head.
Yep.
Right. And I never thought anything of it. I never once said, gee, it was just like, what's the big deal? And, to show you how old I am, okay, in second grade, all right, I had a teacher named Mrs. Hefner, okay? Second grade. When you misbehave in a classroom, she would call you up and in front of the class, smack your knuckles with a ruler. Now, I wouldn't want that. I think that might be going a little too far. But what I'm saying is, that's a long time ago. But now all of a sudden in 2025, an NFL coach yelling at a player has to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, please.
Was it a regular ruler or was it a yardstick?
No, it was a regular ruler, not a yardstick. It was just a regular ruler. And let me tell you something, Rhino, it hurt.
That's incredible. I would not think that would hurt that bad, but
try it. Get a ruler. All right. Put your hand out and have the teacher or have anyone smack the ruler on your knuckles. It hurts.
I got you because your hand's flat. You don't have your knuckles flexed.
Actually, it might hurt more if you had your knuckles flexed, but it hurt. Trust me. But it didn't deter me. I'd be up there 10 minutes later getting my other hand hit with the ruler. Okay. Like I was
You and Mad Dog in the same class?
I look like a boxer without gloves on at the end of my calendar year in that school.
See, you don't even have to call the parents. The parents just look at the knuckles, and you know.
I'm like, come on, man. Yeah. But listen, I don't condone that, and I'm just using that as an example. But this to me, I couldn't believe it when I saw this. I just could not believe this. All right, I want to ask you. You were out of practice today. What do we have coming up in the show later from today's Kings practice?
Yeah, we've got audio from Coach Christie, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. We'll talk about the Kings bounce back practice from yesterday. Energy was much better, and there was a really fun vibe in the building today between the coaches, players, and such, and ready to move on to Toronto because, Grant, as you know, this is really now the preseason. Training camp at this point's over.
Yeah, exactly. And now we start getting into the games in the preseason. There's only 4 of them. So it's just a chance, as Doug said yesterday, to really work on things against other players that don't know what you're going to be doing. I mean, the one thing about practice is the familiarity that everyone has with each other. So, like, there are no secrets in practice. And when you're playing against the same players every day, you know their tendencies, you know the plays, you know what's going to happen. But now you're going against a team that doesn't know your tendencies, doesn't know, even though there's not a lot of game planning for a preseason game, at least you're going against different players, and I think that's good.
Yeah, and I think the first one's really important in this sense. It's a team that's been doing the exact same thing as you. They have not been in front of anybody else either. So both teams should be anxious to roll it out, especially the rookies. But we've got some fun sound we'll get to later.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. If you want to call the show, you can do so at 916-779-0929. I just wanted to ask one other question to you. You have any problem with my worst teams in the NFL?
No. All good.
Okay.
All good.
Okay.
We might, by the way, be talking about another apology for your rant. So
another apology.
We'll put that in the back of your
Okay.
head.
All right, sounds good. That's coming up at 5 o'clock. And then Sean Salisbury to talk college and the NFL. I know what Sean's going to say about that. I already know Sean and the apology. And then, of course, Jerry Reynolds is going to be coming up this afternoon at 4 o'clock. And, of course, you can keep texting the show at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. So we talk about what we want as fans of sports. We want games officiated to the best of the ability, not only from the individual's perspective, but from a technological perspective. And that's why we're going to go to the challenge system with balls and strikes in Major League Baseball next year. And the reason for that is very simple. I don't have to explain it to you. Why can't a play like last night be challenged? Everyone in the stadium, everyone on the sideline, including Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, knew that it was pass interference. Everyone knew it was pass interference except for the officials on the field. Why can't that play be quickly reviewed? It would take less than 30 seconds, and then the mistake would be corrected. That non-call almost cost Jacksonville the football game. And had the Jaguars lost the game, that's what we would be talking about today. Now, I don't want to hear, there were missed calls made in the first quarter too. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about I'm not talking about reviewing what would be a holding call or in that magnitude. Pass interference, I would also like to see changed. But this is a call that everyone saw should have been made, including right away Trevor Lawrence. He could not believe it. He could not believe it. He knew right away that they had missed a call. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck knew they had missed a call. The Jacksonville bench knew they had missed a call. And the fans in the stands know that they missed a call and it should have been pass interference. So why can't that be quickly reviewed, have a mechanism to get such a blatant non-call corrected? Like if we had had that in the NFC Championship game years ago, Rams and Saints, we would have had a different outcome of the NFC Championship game. Think about that. The non-pass interference call that every single person in the stadium, except for the officials on the field, saw. You got to get that right. That's too big of a play to get wrong, and it was a blatant miss. It wasn't just like, no. It was a big mistake by the officials. You have to get that right. And that's what we want as fans, correct? And I don't want the whole game on a computer. I don't want to go to that regard. I don't want to be able to review every play where we're looking, did he hold, did he not hold? No, I'm talking about the blatant mistakes. We have to have a mechanism to get that right. We just do. You got to get it right. Plain and simple. You cannot get that. You cannot make that mistake at that point in the game. And I don't have a rooting interest. I don't care if the Chiefs won or the Jaguars won. This isn't me complaining because I had the Jaguars on a bet. No, I don't care about that. Okay. I'm just talking about wins and losses and how a call like that can affect an entire season. So we'll talk more about that. And then a little bit later in the show, how about next freaking segment? Since this is a football hour and next hour it's basketball, I'm going to give you my top 5 teams in the National Football League. When we come back, Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic crash-free for your Tuesday afternoon drive. Construction is giving you a slight delay on your shoulders, 99 South between 50 and Florida Road. 99 North from Elk Grove through Lemon Hill into the city. Traffic is moving well and you're crash-free. 113 Vic Fazio Highway in between I-5 and I-80, no problems. And Cap City Freeway in between I-80 and Jefferson Boulevard. Traffic is moving with no delays. Looking at Highway 51 near Exposition Boulevard, no issues. With twice an hour traffic, I'm KT on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Downtown Ford of Sacramento is celebrating the fall by getting you equipped for a winter road trip. And if you're headed up 50 or 80 into those gorgeous Sierras, get there safely in a new or certified pre-owned 4x4 from Downtown Ford. Our lot on Howe Avenue is loaded with super clean pre-owned trucks and SUVs ready for the snow. F-150s, Rangers, Explorers, and the super hot Ford Maverick. And if there's a particular type of vehicle you've dreamed of owning someday, Downtown Ford probably has a used version of that same vehicle for a substantially lower price. Downtown Ford backs our pre-owned vehicles with an available 10-year, 100,000-mile extended service contract. We're the oldest Ford dealership in California, and we're super proud of our heritage of providing great American Ford cars and trucks to the people of Sacramento for more than a century. Visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napear. Do you need a maintenance check or an emergency repair on a heating or cooling unit? DAS Mechanical will take care of all of your heating, cooling, ventilation, and energy needs. DAS Mechanical will provide you with a full consultation. They'll explain all of your available options so that you can choose the system that's right for your home or business. And DAS Mechanical serves both residential and commercial clients, and they offer a variety of money-saving solutions. Go check out their website, dasmechanical.org, and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their best of awards. And remember, special financing is available, including 0% interest for 18 months. Again, check out dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. Their awesome reviews, their awards. Can't go wrong at dasmechanical.org.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country, and your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I love talking about the National Football League. My top 5 teams, and boy, have they changed a lot since week 1, and they will continue to change. So here's my list, and I'm going to give you a reason why some teams have been left off the list. The 5th best team in the National Football League through 5 games at number 5, and moving into the list for the first time this year, the San Francisco 49ers at 4-1. One of the reasons why I'm picking the Niners, and I'll explain to you why I'm leaving another team off, has to do with defense. I love defense. I love teams that can stop the other team. That's the San Francisco 49ers. They have allowed only 98 points. Now, obviously, you could look at balance of schedule and go, well, gee, that team played a higher quality of teams, and so I understand that, but I can only go with what I can go with. So I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers at 5th overall. Another team that remains in my top 5, but they have dropped a little bit, and that team is, you ready for this? The Philadelphia Eagles. They go from number 1 to number 4. Their record, 4-1. They have a point differential of plus 16. They've had some close games. They've shown some cracks. They just lost at home to Denver. So they drop a couple of spots. I can't just ignore their previous games in which they started off 4-0, but I've got the Philadelphia Eagles at number 4. At number 3, a team that goes from 2 and drops is the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have a point differential of plus 40. They haven't been great, to be honest with you, but they are 4-1. They're 3-1 at home. The loss to New England, divisional game. Divisional games are normally pretty close, and so I got to keep Buffalo in my top 5. The second best team in the National Football League through 5 games, the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, a point differential of plus 74. They've scored 163. They've given up 89. They look like they're the real deal, and they're 4-1. My best team in the NFL through 5 weeks is a team that wasn't on the list in week 1 or week 2. I'm not even sure they were on the list in week 3, but they're on the list now at the number 1 spot after losing to open up the season in Green Bay. And gee, they're not going to be very good because they don't have a good coordinator here and there because they lost Aaron Glenn and they lost Johnson. The Detroit Lions are my new number 1 ranked team in the Napear top 5 at 4-1 with a point differential of plus 62. You might ask, where's Tampa Bay? You know what? Tampa Bay's 4-1 and I love them, but their point differential is only plus 3. Think about that. Think about the games that they've played. They have managed ways to win, and that's the quality of a good team. But I have to use tiebreakers. They beat Atlanta 23-20. Bad team. They beat Houston 20-19. Bad team. They barely beat the Jets on a blocked field goal 29-27. Bad team. They lost to Philly 31-25, and they just beat Seattle 38-35. I can't put a team that barely beats Atlanta, Houston, the Jets in there in my top 5. And again, I understand that the standings are the standings, but I can't include the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who could very easily be 1-4 with that point differential. You might say, what about Jacksonville? Well, same thing with Jacksonville. And even though that was a big win last night, when I look at their total body of work, they beat Carolina, bad team, 26-10. They lost to Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, 31-27. They barely beat a bad team in Houston, 17-10. They edged San Francisco by 5, which is a big win on the road, and then Kansas City. They're knocking on the door right now. They're knocking on the door, but I can't have them at number 5. I can't have them in my top 5. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 teams in the National Football League through 5 weeks. What do you think? 916-779-0929. Again, that's 916-779-0929. Buffalo is a team that's very close to being out of my top 5 with how bad their defense is. But I have to have them in my top 5. But they're close to being out. You know, when I look at Buffalo, they got a gift, an absolute gift on the opening game when Derrick Henry fumbled the ball. That would have been a loss, 41-40. The Jets, they beat 30-10, no problem. You know, you could have the Jets are terrible. They should have, and really, they could have, shouldn't say should have. They could have very easily lost to Miami. The game was 31-21. The game was much, much closer than that score would indicate. They played New Orleans 31-19. So what I'm saying is they've had a very easy schedule. And then they lost to New England. So when you look at their quality of opponents, you could make a case for them not being in my top 5. And they have another cupcake coming up at Atlanta. They have another cupcake after that at Carolina. I mean, they have a very easy schedule this year. Very easy. Because they're playing Houston on the road. They've got Cincinnati. I'm talking about games out of their division. They have at Cleveland. They got an easy schedule. They really do. I mean, when you play the Jets twice, right? You play the Dolphins twice. That's an easy schedule. At Cleveland, no problem. Cincinnati, no Burrow, no problem. Right? Carolina, no problem. Atlanta, no problem. Should be no problem is what I'm saying. So those are my top 5. I got my top 5. I've got my lower 5. I love talking about the NFL. You can't get enough NFL. Give me an NFL game every freaking night, and I would be very happy. Now, when you look at the schedule coming up this week, the Giants are going to be booed off the field on Thursday night. You watch that game. I predict the Giants will be booed off the field at halftime, the same way the Jets were booed off the field at halftime. You will see, I would say, 30, maybe 40% Eagles fans, okay? 40% Eagles fans at the game Thursday night at MetLife Stadium. All right. Denver and the Jets are over in London. Broncos coming off a huge win. They flew to London right after the game Sunday. Colts are going to host the Cardinals. You have the Chargers at Miami. New England's on the road to take on the Saints. Cleveland's at Pittsburgh. Dallas is at Carolina. Jacksonville home to Seattle. That should be a heck of a game. Teams that win on Monday night don't always play that well the following week. Keep that game in mind. Seattle at Jacksonville. Rams taking on Baltimore in Baltimore. Raiders should be able to get back on track this week, right? They got Tennessee at home. Cincy travels to Green Bay. Niners are at Tampa. The Sunday night game could be a dandy. Lions, Chiefs. All right. And then you have a doubleheader on Tuesday or on Monday. Buffalo at Atlanta. Chicago at Washington. The Niners-Bucks game is a game that right now, early in the season, looks like it could have playoff implications in terms of home field. Just keep that in mind when you see games like this. This is going to be a game. You have the Bucks that have won close. We'll have to wait until the Niners injury report comes out on Wednesday. But you have the Niners at the Bucks. And again, this could be a game that has playoff implications and tiebreakers. This is a big game. It's one of the big games on the card. I think the best games coming up this week are Seattle at Jacksonville. That's going to be a very good game. Niners at Tampa Bay. Detroit at Kansas City. And how about the two bad games, the doubleheader? The last time we had a doubleheader, it was terrible. And this doubleheader doesn't exactly excite me. I guess Chicago at Washington could be okay. Why are we having doubleheaders on Monday night? I mean, really, for crying out loud. Do I need to have a doubleheader on a Monday night? Games that start an hour apart? Stop it already with this stuff, would you please? But Detroit, Kansas City, I was asked this yesterday. No, it's not a must-win for the Chiefs. Not with the way things look right now in the AFC West. I fully expect Denver to win to go to 4-2. So let's just assume that Kansas City loses, just for sake of conversation, to go to 2-4. That doesn't mean that they are done, okay? Because I'm looking at their schedule. They have the Raiders at home, divisional game. Those divisional games are not easy. Washington at home, at Buffalo, who has not been playing great, at Denver. It's a big game. I mean, they got a tough schedule coming up. After Detroit, again, divisional game, don't just automatically assume the Raiders game is going to be easy. They should win, and I think they will win. But again, it's a divisional game. But how about this schedule after that? Washington at home, good team. At Buffalo. At Denver, coming off a bye. Colts, at home. At Dallas, high-powered offense. That's a heck of a schedule right there. So this is going to be a really challenging period of time for the Chiefs. You know, I'm looking at the Lions, and I'm looking at how well they're playing. I don't think it's going to phase Detroit in any way, shape, or form to go on the road. I mean, they beat Kansas City, what was it, 2 seasons ago to open up the campaign after Kansas City had won the Super Bowl the year before. They went into Kansas City and won that game. They've won there before. They're confident. They're a better football team right now than Kansas City. I think we could, agree on that. You hear Patrick Mahomes last night after the game was unbelievably frustrated. Oh, boy, was he frustrated. He feels like they gave that game away, said we're making too many mistakes. I have to believe that they're not going to make mistakes coming up on this Sunday night game against Detroit. But it's hard for me to pick against Detroit right now with how well they've played lately. It's very difficult for me to just think they're not going to play well. I think they're going to play well. Now, you could also say, well, gee, their schedule has not exactly been too difficult. Played the Bears after they lost to Green Bay. Baltimore's not very good. They destroyed them. They're the reason why Baltimore's in a tailspin. I really think the way Detroit went into Baltimore and put 38 on the board, I think that was the beginning of Baltimore's real, we're in big trouble. They beat Cleveland 34-10, bad team. They beat Cincinnati 37-24, bad team. So in all fairness to the Lions, that I have as my number one team, yeah, they've won 4 games by wide margins, but they've had a very soft schedule. This week, the schedule gets more difficult. And then how about this? They play Tampa Bay after that, talking about Detroit at home. Boy, think about this if you're the Bucs. You go from San Francisco to Detroit. Then after a bye week, you have Minnesota at home, at Washington, at Philadelphia. Week off because you're playing the Giants. Green Bay at home in the rematch. Thanksgiving Day. Home Dallas, at the Rams, home Pittsburgh, at Minnesota, at Chicago. But at that stretch coming up, at Kansas City, home Tampa, home Minnesota, at Washington, at Philly. A very difficult stretch. So, love talking football. Hour number 1 already in the books. How come these hours, all right, how come I didn't have an hour like this when I was in school where I look up at the clock and I'm like, wow, that's been an hour already? Yeah, I love it. 2 hours left. Jerry Reynolds when we come back right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic crash free on this Tuesday drive. Slower Cap City Freeway northbound between 50 and I-80 and then 50 west between 99 and I-5. You are slow in pockets. I-80 eastbound from Davis to the Eisenhower. Traffic is slower and slower with the afternoon drive on 99 north from Elk Grove into the city. Although you're crash free and also moving well I-5 northbound from Broadway to the Eisenhower with twice an hour traffic. I'm KT on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Hey, come on in.
Hi,
Guys.
Jack. In our subdivision?
Yeah, I saw your Suburban out front, so I thought I'd see how your kitchen and bath remodel was going.
We're delayed.
Oh, watch your step.
Waiting on subs.
Contractors?
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't go with Kitchen Mart?
No, why?
Nothing. That's just why we went with Kitchen Mart. They don't use subs. No subs?
No subs?
You know, with the exception of something very specialized, Kitchen Mart does everything in-house so they can finish on time and on budget. So your cabinets, countertops, plumbing, drywall, electric, and your contractor pulled permits, right? That's the law.
Was he supposed to?
Well, you mean supposed to?
What'd I say?
Sub.
Sub?
Sub.
Remodeling your kitchen or bath? 20,000 ecstatic customers agree. No subs means Kitchen Mart's in-house designers, craftsmen, and installers do it right and finish on time and on budget. Kitchen Mart, with 2 showrooms in Sacramento and Rockland. Call 362-7080 or go to kitchenmart.net for a free home appointment.
Kitchen and bath. No one does it better than Kitchen Mart.
The most trusted name in kitchen and bath remodeling since 1976.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old, or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, Gubroods.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, Gubroods, Gabroods.com.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Sacramento, we've got our guy. Grant Napear. Grant Napier's back, beginning weekdays at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM, Sacramento.
All right, we talked all football in hour number 1. Now we're going to switch gears and we're going to go and talk some Kings and NBA with the one and only Jerry Reynolds right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Jerry Reynolds joining us now. How are you, Jerry?
I'm pretty good. Beautiful weather here in Roseville. A little warmer today, but boy, fall. Love it. That's why we pay the extra taxes, I guess.
Well, you don't really have a choice there, Jerry, okay? I'm letting you know that.
No, not much. Not much, no.
Jerry, we've been playing a lot of sound from King's practice. Rhino's been out there every day, as you would like to. Jerry, can I borrow one of your sayings? Bless his heart, okay? Jerry always says, bless your heart or bless his heart. He's been really providing us great information. But anyway, we keep on hearing Doug talk about picking up 94 feet. We keep on hearing him talk about setting the defense. So he's been talking about the importance of getting to the free throw line so that they can set their defense. So I wanted to get you on to talk to us in layman terms to the folks that don't really understand the nuances of trying to play that style. So for sake of conversation, assuming that the ball goes into the basket, assuming that you're at the free throw line and make your free throw, and you can set your defense and you can pick up at 94 feet. What are the things that you're trying to accomplish by doing that?
Well, I think as much as anything, you're trying to speed up the pace of the game and get as many more possessions in the game. Now, who does that generally benefit? I mean, I always said it's kind of like a great boxer. The more rounds you go, the better chance he's got of winning. But the better the team, the more possessions. So it doesn't always benefit the weaker team to get more possessions. But having said that, I mean, that's the only way you can really set 94 feet of defense is after made baskets and after made free throws. And you got a chance because obviously on misses, the game gets in transition and it's tough enough just to get back, cover the basket, and balance up 5-on-5.
All right. If you were getting ready to play a team that picked up 94 feet a lot after made baskets, and you've scouted, you've got video. As a coach on the opposing team, how would you combat that?
Well, I think it's one of those things to where, you just kind of prepare for press breakers. In other words, your guards are going to be challenged a lot more. Now, in the NBA, guards are so good that they can usually beat one defender, but if a double comes, all they've got to do is be able to throw it ahead. And especially if you've got a big that can handle. I always say that's your press breaker. Throw it ahead into the hands of a big, because, as we know, centers themselves don't really like to get out and try to cover in the full court, because if they get beat, it's a dunk on the other end.
Mm-hmm. Jerry Reynolds joining us right here on the Grant Napear Show. Again, I don't want to paint a false picture here that that's what the Kings are going to be doing the whole game. You got to pick and choose when to do this, correct?
I think so, yeah. I mean, in the NBA, I know Rick Pitino tried it years ago with the Knicks when he coached the Knicks, and I think he might have tried it briefly with the Celtics too when he coached there. And of course, that's always been his style in college, and it worked extremely well, still does. But in the NBA, by game 30, it kind of run its course. It's one thing to get veteran, say 30-year-old guys picking up in November. It's another to get them to pick up in mid December. When they're playing a back-to-back in Charlotte.
Yeah. Good luck with that, Jerry. Right? You've been there. You've been in the huddles.
Yeah,
and
I
you're
was
like,
gonna say it's. Yeah, I mean, if you had 10 or 12 guys that are really pretty equally matched and young and all pretty good defenders, yeah, I think it's probably a way. I think with Indiana, we kind of saw that last year, where they had a deep bench and a lot of young guys, and they were able to do it. Now, and so they had a lot of success with it. I mean, because they were picking up as much as they could, as long as they could. But they had great depth and a lot of 6'5" guys that could guard 2 or 3 positions. And you're always going to have to have guys who can guard several positions, because you're going to get switched out so much and have to pick up, different guys. So, yeah, it can be done. And like I say, I think Rick Carlisle kind of proved you can have success with it. If you've got a lot of athletes and a lot of depth and multi-positional players.
Jerry, the Kings have a lot of guards, and you've always said you can't keep everyone happy if you're a coach, so don't try. But I'm looking at what I think is going to be the starting backcourt of Schroeder and Levine. Then you have Monk, you have Keon Ellis, and you have a player in Nick Clifford, who we keep on hearing about, will be playing some point and will be in the backcourt. And then you have a young and upcoming player in Devin Carter. I mean, I just don't understand. And if we don't even include Carter in this conversation, as you said, it's not Little League baseball. Not everybody gets to play 3 innings. You got one basketball and you only have 48 minutes. This is going to be, barring injuries, this is going to be very challenging for Doug, is it not?
Oh, it really will be. I mean, and I think that's why he's hoping that he, with the, surplus of guards, that they can get by with playing more 94 feet basketball, because if they could do that, you can play more guys, number one, and it gets the game stretched out to where a 6'5" guy in the middle of the floor guarding a 6'8" guy, the 6'8" guy doesn't have an advantage there. It's around the basket. So in theory, it can work. I mean, but I think get back to your original point is all these guys want to play a lot for a lot of reasons, money, careers, things like that. And, Keon Ellis wants to be on the floor. Zach LaVine wants to be on the floor. Monk, Schroeder, Nick Clifford, Zach LaVine, and of course, and really DeMar DeRozan, his probably best position is probably a guard as well.
Yeah.
A 2 guard. Yeah. So, how you got way too many guards, and that's probably from Coach Christie's perspective, in my mind, it's about the only way to try to get as many guys, especially if your better players, which most are guards, get them on the floor.
So we talk about the style that Doug wants to play. He keeps on saying, I want the other team to feel us. I want to be able to set our defense. I want to pick up 94 feet. He's talked about having basically a 10-man rotation. Can you do all of that with 10 men, or do you think it requires more?
Well, no, I think you can do it 10, but you're going to need 12 because of injuries. And, but basically during the game, probably 10's the most you can really play, I think. And so in theory, that's right. I mean, I just could be concerned about, can you get enough size on the floor when you're forced into a half court game, because you will be forced into a half court game. So
absolutely.
And so that, that's, like I say, go back to whether it's Indiana that played that way, but they were good defensively in the half court as well. And they had size with Turner and Siakam and those guys. So they could protect the paint pretty well when they had to.
When you look at this roster, the length is a concern, right? The lack of what they have in that area. And again, you can make trades and you can, do certain things. But as we look at the roster as it is put together currently, that's the issue with this team, is it not?
I think it is. And I mean, it's the roster is what it is, and the coaching staff has to coach who's there. But I do think the lack of size and length is going to be a real factor. I mean, Isaac Jones could be very important if he could, basically establish that he's a viable rotation player. And I think that he might be able to, but that's yet to be proven. Having said that, I think this roster is, if you could move two guards, not two guards that are kind of expendable for a Naz Reid kind of guy in Minnesota, all of a sudden this is a good team.
Yeah, good luck with that.
But then again, well, there's a reason they won't do that.
Sure.
Yeah,
well, that's the challenge.
Yeah,
that's the challenge for Scott Perry.
Yeah, it is.
And the other unknown with this team, and you were very complimentary after watching both Max Reno and Nick Clifford in Summer League, and where you understand Summer League is Summer League, and we've been through this many times before. But your point coming out of Summer League was both of these guys can play, and you actually said you got to find a way to have Nick on the floor 20 minutes a game, right? You really believe that's a number that is obtainable for him.
I do. I mean, I think he's a kind of a future. He looks good enough to be part of the future plans going down the road. And you've got some older players, so which aren't going to be part of it. And so a kid like him, if you think he's a player, you've just got to make sure, to carve out 10 minutes a half for him, I think. And now it's going to be at the expense of somebody else, but so be it. I mean, if he's as good as he looked in Summer League, then you got to develop him. I mean, you can't. At some point, this team probably needs to get younger, quite honestly. And so, with Reno, I think that's more of a we'll see. Whether he's ready to get minutes right away. I wouldn't. I'm just not sure about that. He may need some time in the G League, and maybe just have to see. I think he's got a real future. Don't get me wrong.
Very interesting. I was with Peja Stojakovic recently, and Peja's seen him play a lot in person because Peja's son was at Stanford before he moved on to Cal and now Illinois, and he's watched Max play a lot, both in person and watched them on TV. And he was raving to me about him. He thinks he's going to be a really good NBA player, and he thinks he's ready to play. He thinks he can play right now, which I found to be very interesting, Jerry.
Well, I do too. I have a lot of respect for Peja, and like I say, he knows him better than I do. The strength factor would concern me, although I did think, his skill, for a 7-footer, I mean, he really has the ability to play off the dribble and shoot the three. I mean, if he were 20 pounds heavier and little stronger, more experienced, you'd think he'd be the perfect fit with Domas as for today, but And so that would be a real bonus if that were to happen. I mean, if by the end of preseason they say, he's ready to get some consistent minutes at the 4, because I think he could be a nice, kind of a Kelly Olynyk, better version of Kelly Olynyk kind of player.
We were talking the other day, and Rhino was with me, and I asked Rhino who he thought the Kings' most valuable player was in terms of the guy that you absolutely have to have on the floor. And I'm talking about like the one guy that you can't have miss games. And we both agreed that of the entire roster, Sabonis was number 1 on that list. Do you agree with that?
Oh, by far. Yeah, I don't think that's even close. He does so many things. I've always said, a lot of times it seems like fans look for what he doesn't do as opposed to what he does do. And he's certainly among the elite centers in this league. And really his skills help make his teammates better, which isn't always the case. And like I say, I mean, it's remarkable. He's had about 5 straight years of averaging basically 20 points on 12 shots, shooting 60%, lately shooting 40 from 3, 75 from the line, and leading the league in rebounding.
Yeah.
And being the second best assist center in the league.
Why do you think he's underappreciated?
Well, winning. I think teams just got to win more. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. I think you look down at with the Clippers now, Zubac is starting to get a lot of attention. Well, they're winning. They're winning more, and he's a big part of it. So I think that's it. As much as anything, he certainly was on some winning teams in Indiana and made All-Stars a couple of times, and once here with the Beam team, but has probably played just as well, if not better, the last couple of years, even though the team didn't perform as well.
I'm hearing a lot of real positive things about the training camp of Keegan Murray. And I just think this is the year for him that we're going to see him take that step. We know that he brings his lunch pail every game. We know what he does defensively. Doug has talked about him and his volume of threes. He actually mentioned 10. I think that's too high. But the point is, they want Keegan to do more offensively. We understand there's only one basketball, and you've always talked about that. But I really think Keegan Murray is going to have a tremendous year. I just think this is the year for him.
I do too. I mean, I guess what I would like to see, and I don't know that in my mind he's ever going to be a top 20 guy in the league or anything, but I really see where he can and should be that consistent 17, 18 point scorer, 8 rebounds, and top of the line defender. I think all those things are within reach, and that puts him in an elite company right there. Kind of a better shooting version of OG Anunoby kind of player that doesn't get hurt so much.
Yeah. Well, it's a very good point. Jerry, the addition of Dennis Schroeder, from a coach's perspective, having basically the quarterback of your team, that it's experienced, been there, done that. He's been in a lot of different situations. He's seen a lot of different things, been with a lot of different coaches. So, like, as you like to say, he's been around the block. He knows how to play, and he's good. He may not be great, but he's a good player, and I think he will be a stabilizing force for this franchise. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I watched, some of the Euro League games, and he was really good, and he is. He's got some natural leadership ability, I think, and I think he's really going to help this team. You wish he was 25 years old, but the guy is, like I say, has played for every different style, and I think he and Domas are they're the guys who have to really lead this team and be the vocal leaders and the consistent contributors, and I think they both will.
Okay, so with everything that we're talking about, we talk about Schroeder and how he should make the team better. We just spoke very highly about Sabonis and Murray. we both expect Keegan Murray to have that next step, then why can't this team be significantly better than most people around the country feel they will be?
I think it can. I don't know. I know the general feeling is it's a 37-win team. I think it can definitely be better than that. But the problem is, it's their opponents. It's
yeah,
like,
I forgot about the West. Right.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can get better, but that doesn't mean. It's like, and that's kind of the problem they've got. I mean, I think that they certainly can have really a better team and not necessarily win anymore, because I think the West is even better this year than last year. Barring a lot of stars getting hurt, something like that. But yeah, I think that's that's the problem, because you look at the rosters of some of these teams and most most have improved, and some of the weaker teams are going to not be automatic wins. So yeah, I think it's the opposition that the Kings will just have to, quite honestly, to have a good record, they're going to have to find ways to beat teams that are better than they are talent-wise.
So you're telling me that when you coached and you were going against Magic, Kareem, and Worthy, or you're going to Dallas and playing against Roe Blackman, Derek Harper, and Mark Aguirre, that was kind of a challenge, that even if you thought your team was okay, that was an obstacle. Is that what you're telling me, Jerry?
I'm telling you, that was in Denver. Yes, it was a real nut, because it's one of those things that
you beat the
Lakers.
Lakers.
If you played yeah, we sure did, and I mean, it's one of those things that if you play your best game when you're a weaker team and you catch them looking ahead, you can beat better teams.
Mm-hmm.
But you got 82 games and stuff, and the reality sets in. I've always said with some of the weaker teams the Kings have had over the years, so often it came down to depth. They always had 3 or 4 really good players, but this isn't a 3 or 4 good player league. It's an 8,
right.
and that's just all there is to it. I mean, it's no different. It's like every other sport. You can have an awfully good quarterback and running back and offense, but if your defense is poor, you're not going to win in the NFL either.
I want to get you on before the opener, and I want to talk about the Suns in a couple of weeks. They're actually over in Macau playing Brooklyn in a preseason contest, but I actually think they're better than they were last year, and I think their starting 5 is very formidable with Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Mark Williams, Ryan Dunn, and they come off the bench with O'Neal and Allen. I don't think they're chopped liver. Now, I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs, but I think a lot of people are assuming that they're going to be terrible. I don't think they're going to be terrible. I just don't.
No, I agree with you. I think what will happen, I mean, that was a dysfunctional team, and with Durant and Bradley Beal, not saying it's each of their fault, but it just didn't work, and it never did. And then, then the coaching problems, obviously Booker got, it was just too many superstars supposedly, and which of course Bradley Beal wasn't at all. But yeah, I think they've got guys, especially a Dylan Brooks. You hate him if he's on the opposition's team, but you'd like to have him on yours. And I think he'll bring a real toughness to that team. And Jalen Green is close to breaking out. So yeah, I think they'll be a team here again that probably will win a game or two more than they did last year. Just because I think they're going to be much better defensively and basically a better fit, and Booker will know he's the guy, and that's probably where it should have been.
Jerry, always great having you on, and rest up because, we've got all the YouTube shows, and I know you're going to be helping us out from time to time on that. We appreciate the fact that you're in your 80s and you have the energy of a 40-year-old. So I want to let you know that I have noticed that. I acknowledge that, and I'm grateful. I'm wow, look at Jerry, the fountain of youth.
Well, as you know, actually, the 81 is the new 79. So I'm just
the 81 is the new 79.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I'll be getting my rest because I know you and Rhino put a lot of pressure on me. So I'll get my rest, do my study, and be ready for you.
Jerry, appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Take care. See ya.
All right, bye-bye. What an absolute classic. Just love having Jerry. Just great. You know what else I love? I love talking about businesses that have great ownership, that are family-owned, such as DAS Mechanical. Meeting with Nick a couple of weeks ago, it's easy for me to see why they've got so many 5-star reviews and have won numerous Best of the Best awards. DAS Mechanical, HVAC retrofit and service specialist. They also do new systems. And as we get closer to November, guess what, folks? It is going to get chillier. And when you turn that heater on for the first time, don't go, uh-oh, we got a problem. Take advantage of this $69 winter maintenance checkup now at DAS Mechanical. Go to dasmechanical.org. You can schedule your appointment online. And again, take a moment or two and look at all of their reviews and their awards. Homeowners, businesses for commercial maintenance. And, you know, if you're looking at doing new systems, there's 0% interest for 18 months available. Rebates up to $6,000, including a $2,000 federal tax credit that you need to take advantage of because they're expected to go away at the end of the year. That's dasmechanical.org. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. dasmechanical.org. Phone calls coming up next, 916-779-0929. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic got a crash I-5 southbound after the Eisenhower Highway, and you're slow from Marina Boulevard. Looking at 50, you're slow and go in between I-5 and 99 and 99 south. A slow after 50. There is construction on both of your shoulders. And 50 as you continue east and westbound in between Howe Avenue and 99. You're slow with the ride home. With twice an hour traffic, I'm KT on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Traffic brought to you by Gabroods Electrical. Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, and always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues with Gabroods. GUBRUDS.com.
Downtown Ford of Sacramento is celebrating the fall by getting you equipped for a winter road trip. And if you're headed up 50 or 80 into those gorgeous Sierras, get there safely in a new or certified pre-owned 4x4 from Downtown Ford. Our lot on Howe Avenue is loaded with super clean pre-owned trucks and SUVs ready for the snow. F-150s, Rangers, Explorers, and the super hot Ford Maverick. And if there's a particular type of vehicle you've dreamed of owning someday, Downtown Ford probably has a used version of that same vehicle for a substantially lower price. Downtown Ford backs our pre-owned vehicles with an available 10-year, 100,000-mile extended service contract. We're the oldest Ford dealership in California, and we're super proud of our heritage of providing great American Ford cars and trucks to the people of Sacramento for more than a century. Visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking, the list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
What a treasure that man is. Jerry Reynolds, the best. Period. The best. Rhino, that was a great segment, buddy. And you are just coming at us again with more Kings knowledge as you were at practice today. What stood out to you today, buddy?
You know, Napes, it felt a little more loose. It felt like they had a fun, energetic practice. Doug was in a really good mood. Players were in a good mood. A lot of guys getting some extra work in. Really, it's kind of the culmination of camp. They're ready. They know tomorrow they get to play another opponent. So all in all, a pretty good day from camp.
See, I love that. And training camp gets stagnant. It gets boring. I mean, it just does. It gets to be monotonous. And now all of a sudden You get to go in front of your fans for the first time. You get out of the practice facility and get into the arena, and just playing against a different players, right? Is
100%.
refreshing. So I'm not surprised by the atmosphere. All right, who did you get sound from today?
Talked to Doug, Dennis, and also DeMar. Yesterday, the Kings a little bit sluggish after the day off. Doug Christie, not a big fan of the energy. Here was his thoughts today on the bounce back.
Spectacular today. Like they were locked in, which is like, listen, I don't know too many teams that come back after an off day and have a great practice. I don't care where you're at. It's the nature, it's the energy, it's the mind is someplace else, and then maybe you lock in towards the end. And they did that for us yesterday. Towards the end of the practice, 82-2 is hard. They knocked it out. They shot their free throws. They knocked them down. So there were points in the practice when I went back and looked at that were actually really good. I have to find something to talk about, though, because I will say we're asking them to pick up. We're asking them to be physical. We're asking them to be handsy. Now, we do need tape against somebody else, and tomorrow it may go good. It may not go good, but whatever happens, we'll have tape on it, and we'll adjust. And these guys are competitors. That's the one thing. The competition level in this gym has been really high.
And that's what training camp's for, competition. There are some guys that are fighting for playing time to get on the back end of that second rotation, so that's good to hear.
Speaking of competition, after practice, Bobby Jackson jumped into the three-point shooting drills where you've got to make 5 from the same spot and move on, and he went on a run of probably at least 12. And it got everybody's attention, even Doug's. And so we're joking around. Bobby finally misses one. But Doug's talked a lot about basketball being fun. He wants it to be fun. And so I asked him, is that what fun is? And do we not have that loaded? We do not have that
That's
loaded
okay.
at the moment. So,
no problem. Well, can I expand on that?
Yeah, please.
Basketball is always fun when you haven't lost games yet. And I mean that because this is what these guys love to do. They love being in the gym. That's what they do. They've been in the gym since early September, and they've been scrimmaging against each other. They love basketball. They're hoopers, and that's their job, and it's their profession, and they get paid a lot. But they love it. That's their passion. In addition to being the best in the world, they love doing it. But that will go away quickly if this team starts losing. So let's hope that doesn't happen, because then you won't be having fun anymore.
No, that's when it gets real. And that's going to be something every team faces at some point during the season. But as camp continues to wrap up, and just to put a bow tie on that, Doug, he agreed. He's laughing. And he says, if Bobby beats all of them, we're never going to hear the end of it. He already doesn't shut up. So they were playful and asking, I'll even ask you, because he was asked about shooting competitions back in the day when those guys were on the court. You covered them. I bet that was a lot of fun after practice sometimes.
The guy that most recently always sticks out in my mind was Buddy Hield. After every practice, Buddy would do that with teammates and have his shooting competitions, and he would take on anyone, coaches, equipment managers, ball boys, like it wouldn't matter. He was doing that after every practice. That's something that's gone on ever since basketball started.
Sure.
Extra, games where a lot of times they bet money or whatever, dinner, whatever the case may be. They put something on the line. These guys don't do anything without putting something on the line. Because you know why? They're competitive. And if they don't have anything on the line, then it takes away their competitive nature. So like they love putting that aspect of it. They always put something on the line. And it just kind of drives up their competitive level to where they need to be. That's just been part of practice. And it will go on all year. Even if the team is losing, those type of games or competitions, they don't ever disappear. They go on at shoot-arounds on the mornings of games. They go on at normal practices. They go on practices on the road. I've never been to a practice, and I mean this. I have never been to a practice where I have not seen that. After the formal practice is over, when the coach calls everyone in and guys grab a ball and they do whatever they want, that's gone on ever since I started covering the NBA.
What about the days with Bobby Jackson, Peja, Doug, those competitions?
I can't begin to tell you how many times the trainer and or coach was trying to get the players off the floor, particularly on the road, because the home team had the gym next for their shoot around, and these guys didn't want to get off the floor because they were having so much fun. It happened every single time, every gym that we were in. You just couldn't get these guys off the floor because they love doing that so much.
Yeah.
Happened all the time.
That's great. Doug is planning to play the starters tomorrow night. Now, as for the rest of the bench, is everybody else going to play? He's non-committal to that because of the fact that there's only 4 preseason games. So he says we're going to let it play out how it may. He did take a question about what was the surprise or the surprises of this camp up until this point.
The competition level, asking them to do something that they haven't necessarily done at a high level for a long period of time, in my opinion, is hard. That's a difficult thing. And when somebody that's actually done it, I understand what's required out of that. And the commitment from them to try to do that every single day has been highly impressive, and I really appreciate that. Listen, I know we're going to get in the game, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but that's another learning step for us. Come back, watch film, look at it. Where are we at in that? And if we need to turn it up more, then we got to turn it up.
Grant, is this as much of a learning experience for the players as it is Doug, especially the young ones?
No question, 100%. And what do we hear from Scott Perry from day one? And what has Scott Perry continually talked about what this year is about? It's about molding a team in a direction that is going to be set for the future, right? That it's part of your building. They're really starting from scratch, right? So they're building a franchise based on how they perceive things and how they want things to look. So that's what they're doing right now. They're putting the groundwork in, and they're right now on the first floor, and they're going to continually move up, hopefully, to where they can have a skyscraper. So they're right now on the ground floor, and they're putting all of this in, and that's why these things are so important currently. If you want to talk about the word culture or call it whatever you want, this is a critical period because it really sets the foundation with a new general manager and a first-year head coach moving forward.
And to what you said a few minutes earlier, when this team hits some adversity, that's where you really want to see that culture kick into place. That's where you want to see that pick them up.
Yeah, and I thought it was very interesting what Jerry said. And when I asked him, why can't this team then be better based on all the things that we're talking about? And he talked about, well, look at the teams in the West.
Yeah.
Right? If the Kings were in the East right now, I mean, we would think they would be a top 8 team. Would we not?
I would have them contending for the 6.
Yeah, that's my point. But not in the West. It's so different in the West right now. I mean, if you look at the East, Boston is a completely different team. Indiana is not going to be the same team, obviously, without Tyrese Halliburton, who's out for the year, and with now Miles Turner being in Milwaukee. Correct?
Yes.
You have a Cleveland team that's going to be good. You have a Milwaukee team that's basically, other than Giannis, has had their roster pretty much turned upside down, so we don't know. The Knicks look like they're going to be formidable. I think Orlando is going to be a top 4 team in the East. But after that, and no disrespect to any teams that I may not be mentioning, there's really nobody that scares you in the East that I'm looking at. I don't think Miami is going to be as good this year, although I would never count out Miami the same way I would never count Indiana because of Eric Spoelstra and Rick Carlisle, respectively. Like those guys and the way they coach, they always seem to be competitive. They always seem to have a team that is going to be in the hunt regardless of who's on the floor. So I can't discount them. But, you know, when I look at a lot of the other teams, Chicago to me doesn't look that good.
No.
Charlotte doesn't look that good, right? I mean, the Nets are going to be terrible. I mean, there are teams that I look at in the East. If you put the Kings roster, if you put the team in the East, we would be saying, gee, if this team's not a top 8 team, it's been a failed season.
No
Seriously.
doubt about it. No doubt about it. To your point, I think the Heat, once they get Tyler Hero back, they might be a little pesky. And don't sleep on, as you said, with Rick Carlisle and the Pacers, simply for the fact that you still got TJ McConnell running the point, and you've got a deep team there, and you're going to have guys that were not getting extended minutes that probably feel like they deserve them. So I would expect them to play solid as well. Speaking of depth, another two-way player came up today, Dylan Cardwell. Both Zach LaVine brought him up and Coach Christie brought him up. Zach said just very tough, very good rebounder, the kind of guy that you kind of think of as an enforcer on the floor. But to a bigger point, Doug was asked about the standouts of camp. Here's what he had to say.
No, I think all of them have been, Dennis's competitiveness and leadership has, jumped off. I think Neek has also demonstrated that he can do a lot of different things on the court. I kind of knew that, but watching him, in summer league is one thing, but against NBA players is something different. Zach's defense and DeMar's defense and commitment to trying to play defense has been impressive. You guys mentioned Domas and moving him around the floor. There's so many. I mean, I can go to Malik and his commitment to the defensive end. Keegan has been a 3-and-D all-around player that I think that I see him ready to take a jump, but we got to wait till the game starts. So I could go down each one of them because they've all really, really impressed. The rookies who have been back are in incredible shape. Dylan has been great. You can just go on and on. Drew, all of them have something that I might not have known about, but after watching them went, okay.
Here's what I take from that, Napes. Doug Christie and this team is expecting a ton from Neek Clifford.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that he's going to be playing. I think he's going to be playing over 20 minutes a game. I really do. Good stuff, Rhino. And we'll have more. But I want to tell you about Spencer Grimmenstein, who I met around 2000. And that's when he began his family-owned business, broker owner of Village Financial Group. And whether it's a home equity line of credit, maybe you're buying a home, maybe you're selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist, and he has access to private money. Go to their website, vfgloans.com. Everything is there for you, and you can check out over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Spencer's fine if you text him. You can call him or text him at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. And be sure and call for the investor special. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Don't forget Sean Salisbury coming up right after Grant's Rant at 5 o'clock. Your phone calls always welcome right here on the Grant Napear Show, or you can text the show at 916-779-0929 on Fox Sports Sacramento.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Well, it's just been announced that the Arizona Cardinals are fining their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, $100,000 because he yelled at his running back, Amari DiMercato. How about fining DiMercato $100,000 for costing his team the game? How about that? If anybody should be fined here, it's DiMercato. Fine him, okay? Fine him for costing an entire team a football game. That to me would make the most sense. You're fining your coach $100,000 for his sideline spat with his running back. Like I don't. This is all foreign to me. I'm sorry. I can't wait to talk to Sean Salisbury coming up after Grant's rant. I don't get this. I really don't. 916-779-0929. So now a head coach in the National Football League cannot confront a player on the sideline. Good to know. It's funny because Rhino made a great point in the last segment or a prior segment. I just watched a very rough exchange between Travis Kelce and the head coach, Andy Reid. Nobody said a word about that. Unbelievable. Seriously, unbelievable. I don't even know what else to say. Howard in Sacramento, welcome to the Grant Napear Show.
And thank you, Grant. You know what? It is so nice to have you back on the air again. I want you to know I've missed you immensely. As far as I'm concerned, and I know I'm nobody, but I will tell you one thing. What you went through was absolutely a travesty and unfair, and I can't believe that that was actually done to you. You are one of the best people on sports talk that I've heard and that I've had the enjoyment of listening to. And I really appreciate your knowledge. I'm just curious, do you miss the play-by-play?
Yeah, I do. But I also did it for 32 years, and I've missed it less and less as I've been away from it. I think the first year I really missed it. You know what I miss, Howard? I miss the big moments that you don't know when they're going to come. It's almost like being on a final exam where you have to ace it, all right? Like that's how my mindset was. Like when you have a big moment in sports, you never know when they're going to come, but you're judged on how you call the big moments. Like if there's a game-winning shot in a basketball game, for instance, nobody remembers anything that you said for the first 47 minutes and 50 seconds of the telecast. but the game-winning shot and how you called it will be replayed really now forever because of social media and the internet. And I miss those moments. I miss the big moments more than anything. That's what I miss about play-by-play.
Well, I miss that about you as well. There has been nobody that does it. And I will tell you this. I mean, it's my opinion, but the Sacramento Kings should know that they miss you and that they should know that, they've never had better ratings than when you were on the radio and or TV for the Kings, representing the Kings. And I would hope that at some point they'll come back and let you know that they're sorry for what happened and that they would love to have you back. But anyway, I miss you very much, and I want you to know how glad I am just that you're on the air again, that I can listen to somebody that has some intelligence about them with sports. And I just have one last question for you, and I'll let you go. But Doug Christie, do you think Doug Christie is ready to be head coach? I mean that in this sense, that do you think that he has enough? I know he has basketball knowledge, but coaching knowledge takes on a little different aspect to that. How do you feel about it?
We're going to find out real soon. I made this comment after Doug Christie was retained, right after the Kings got humiliated in their play-in game against the Dallas Mavericks. I made the comment that if Vivek Ranadive had not made it an edict that it was part of accepting the job by Scott Perry that he had to have Doug Christie as the coach, which is exactly what happened, Doug would not have received an interview for any job in the NBA as a head coach. All right. So that's what I said. I believe that's 100% true. And I believe that's common sense. That doesn't mean that he can't do a good job, but I'm just saying, had he not been given, and that's what he was given the head coaching position by Vivek Ranadive. Had that not happened, he would not have gotten an interview anywhere else in the league. So I'll answer the question that way. But again, part B of that is it doesn't mean he can't do it. Okay, that's why you have a schedule. We're going to find out beginning October 22nd.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that, you have to give him the opportunity now that he has the position. Yep. I do think he did okay as an interim coach. But now it's his baby. So we'll see what he does with it. And I think there's some talent on the Kings, but a head coach that's a good head coach is going to get the most out of the talent that he has. I mean, you can't expect to have something that you don't have a horse for. So I really appreciate that. But I just want to say thank you very much, and it's good to hear you on the airwaves again. And man, it's just nice to have somebody back on that has some intelligence about them with the sport in Sacramento.
Thank you, Howard. I appreciate your kind words. Have a good afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
And about Doug, I mean, listen, it's his job now, and he will sink or swim on his own. And I made this very clear. Doug needs to coach the team the way he wants to coach the team, not the way Scott Perry wants it coached, not the way Vivek Ranadive wants it coached. This is going to be the only shot that Doug Christie will have to be a head coach in the NBA. And he needs to do it his way. He needs to make the moves based on what he sees as best for this team without interference. That's what he needs to do. So that if it does not work out, and I use the word if it does not work out, then he will be able to go to sleep at night saying, you know what? I did it the way I wanted to do it, because there's nothing worse than being a coach and losing your job because you tried to appease others, such as the owner and the general manager. You've got the job. Don't appease anyone other than your players, and coach the team the way you want to coach the team. Don't coach the team the way Scott Perry wants you to coach it, or Vivek Ranadive, or anyone else. You coach the team the way you want to coach it. That's why you are the head coach, not the assistant coach. And I think that is key for Doug if he wants to have success. I really do. All right, don't forget that coming up in just a couple of minutes, Grant's Rant. You can call the show like Howard did at 916-779-0929. Rhino took a little exception with me putting the 49ers ahead of the Buccaneers. And the reason why I did that was because the Buccaneers have had a cupcake schedule, and they have barely won the games that they have played against bad teams. Now, I don't look at that as a negative. I think that's a positive. Good teams find ways to win games. But if I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to look at the Buccaneers, other than Seattle, which was a big-time win up in Seattle, which they won by 3 points, the Buccaneers have not been impressive other than the W. I mean, they barely beat Atlanta. They barely beat Houston. They had to come from behind on a fourth-quarter drive where Baker scrambled for a big fourth down to elude a sack, and they won that game at the Horn, 20-19. They won the game on a blocked field goal against the worst team in football, the Jets, 29-27. I mean, their wins, other than Seattle, it's not impressive at all. Beating Atlanta by 3 is not impressive. Beating Houston by 1 is not impressive. Beating the Jets by 2 is not impressive. That's why I put the Niners over them. That was my feeling in picking San Francisco over Tampa. Rhino would have had Tampa 5th instead of the Niners. I like the Niners' overall body of work. I like their defense significantly more so than I like Tampa's. That's why I picked them. Things will change. Listen, if Tampa beats San Francisco this week, the Niners won't be in my top 5 anymore, and Tampa will. They'll move into my top 5.
Grant, quick question to add on to that. Are you putting more weight onto the Jacksonville win because you think Jacksonville's here to stay for the San Francisco?
That's a very good question. I'm not yet sold on Jacksonville, and the reason for that is also their schedule, to me, has been relatively soft. So, no, not yet. I didn't put Jacksonville in my top 5 because of the games that they've played and the teams that they've played. They're on the outside looking in, but they're not a top 5 team. But no, I did not.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
The tiebreaker for me was the point differential, points allowed, and the fact that the Buccaneers, 3 of their 4 wins have been against 3 of the very worst teams in football, and they barely won each of the games, and they both came down to the final couple of plays. And I think that they're winning, yes, which is great. That's what you're judged by, and that's why they have the standings. But if I'm looking at the complete body of work, other than the Seattle game, it's not really been that impressive for Tampa.
So you're not usually a numbers guy. What about the eye test?
Well, when I look at the eye test, I look at a Tampa Bay team that figures out a way to win games.
Without Mike Evans.
Figure out a way to win games. When I look at San Francisco, they also figure out a way to win games despite being pretty much decimated by injuries. Like if I had told you at the beginning of the year that George Kittle would only play 1 game, correct? That Brock Purdy would only play 2 games, I think it's 2. If I told you that Nick Bosa would miss 2 of the 5 games and would be out for the whole year, you probably wouldn't say they'd be 4-1, but they're 4-1. Tampa's pretty healthy for the most part. Evans missed a game, but that's it. They've been pretty healthy. The Niners have not been healthy. They have been decimated by injuries. Look at their wide receivers. I mean, and they keep winning. Yep. That says something to me.
Okay. All right. I get your argument. It's what it's what I love about football, baby.
Yep, I love it too. I absolutely love it. Grant's rant coming up in just a few moments. Then Sean Salisbury. I want to get his take on this Arizona Cardinals story. I just can't believe it. I mean, I really cannot believe it. You're fining the coach $100,000 because he got into a shouting match. Oh, and he bumped into his arm. He hit his arm. Oh, poor guy. Seriously, what a joke. Unless there's something that happened on the sideline that's not being made public yet, that I'm not aware of, that no one else is aware of, I just don't understand how you can fine the coach $100,000 for that. It's a joke. Again, unless there's something that was said that truly, truly crossed the line that's not been made public yet, this makes no sense to me. Grant's rant and Sean Salisbury next, right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic, I-5 southbound after the Eisenhower Highway. There is a reported crash that has you slow from Marina Boulevard. And then looking at I-5 north and southbound, you're slow and heavy with the ride home in between 50 and the Eisenhower Highway. 50 slow in between I-5 and 99. That's both ways. And also east to Howe Avenue. Traffic's moving well, though. Cap City Freeway north in between I-5 and I-80 with twice an hour traffic. I'm KT on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Let's get right to it. Is your home over 10 years old? How long has it been since electrical integrity was checked? Even for newer builds, a safe rule of thumb is to have your home's electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabrudes, electrical work is all they do. Panel replacement, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what they do most often. They are the area's experts and the electrical company their competition recommends for the hardest problems to solve. So whether you have a difficult situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabrudes for a thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabrudes, serving Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabrudes.com.
Brad Gazan on Atlanta United, we know everyone has a ritual, a habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Find resources at georgia.loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Chiefs have spent the better part of a decade as the NFL's gold standard, a model of stability. And with Patrick Mahomes under center, Andy Reid still calling plays, a defense that's been among the league's best this season, they should be dominating. But after last night's 3-point loss to Jacksonville, the Chiefs are suddenly 2-3, and for the first time in years, there are questions. Is it the offensive line, the lack of reliable receivers? Whatever the case, something's off in Kansas City. And then there's Jacksonville, a team that refuses to go away. Back-to-back wins over the Niners and Chiefs have vaulted them to a 4-1 record. Trevor Lawrence, steady, defense opportunistic, and Liam Cohen's team looks battle-tested. So what is the truth? Chiefs are slipping, Jags on the rise. After Monday night, it's hard to tell. But one thing is for certain, that gap between the Chiefs and the rest of the AFC no longer as wide as it used to be. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Maaco's running a paint sale right now, starting at just $499. How about that? Now, if you've been thinking about maybe doing something with your car, don't pass up this opportunity, okay? There's dents, dings, chip paint. Maaco's seen it all. But for this price, take advantage of that, and you could give your ride a fresh look. Free estimate. They'll work with your budget. They'll get the job done fast. No pressure, no judgment, a fresh start, and you're going to have a national warranty to accompany it. And they're community-based, great people to work with, somebody you can trust to make your car look nice. A fresh ride. They've been doing it for over 50 years, and it's easier than ever for you to take advantage of this. Your car could use a little love. Now's the time. But don't wait. These paint sales will not last long. Visit Maaco, that's MAACO.com, and find the nearest location. Schedule that free estimate. And with the paint sale starting at just $499, your car is going to look awesome. Better get Maaco.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
Rhino, indulge me. I'm just going to do the wild card again because I am absolutely blown away that the Arizona Cardinals would fine their coach $100,000 because he yelled at a player on the sideline and bumped his arm. Unless there was something that was said that was so egregious and so over the line, I don't understand why, first of all, the head coach would apologize to his team in a meeting, okay? I made this very clear. If I'm coaching in training camp, I make it very clear. If you drop the ball before you go over the goal line because you're trying to be Joe Cool, you're not playing on my team. And I agree with Greg Olson. I would have cut him. I would have cut Amari DiMercato. I mean, he cost his team a football game. And now people are like, oh, the coach, he was yelling at the player on the sideline. How freaking soft have we become? What a freaking joke. And now the Cardinals fine the coach $100,000? You got to be freaking kidding me. And that's my rant for today. And what a better way than to bring in my guest, Sean Salisbury, and get his take on this. Sean, how the heck are you?
Grant, I'm great, man. Your rant is spot on. Quite frankly, I don't even recognize the league we play in anymore. And that's not hyperbolic. I don't. Every week it's something. And like Greg Olson and like you and like me, I would have cut him too. You see it. We saw it a week before. You can't learn from somebody else's mistakes. And to fine him $100,000, granted, I'm not comparing the two, and I know that eras change, but some things don't have to change. We have completely stripped coaching of being able to do anything. You offended a player because you yelled at him or cussed at him or popped him in the shoulder pads or hit him on the arm when you walked by. Did you notice the player? He didn't even move. It didn't even stun him enough to move the kid. And one of the linemen had his arm around him. I mean, first of all, it's a selfish play. We know that. It's look at me. It's cheating your teammates. And you know what? If they go on the rest of the season and don't play well, it could get coaches fired. The collateral damage over this play, and it's a controllable play. This is a mistake you can control. And Grant, when I was playing high school football, when I was a freshman, I had a military head coach who'd been in the military, Tom Bice. Love him. Now, you imagine if this happened today. I carried the football, boom, got tackled, went to the ground. I had a compound fracture on my finger. The bone popped out of my skin. I walked back to the huddle and said, Coach, I'm hurt. I think I hurt my finger. You're in a little shock. He goes, Salisbury, get back in the huddle. I said, Coach, I think that's my bone. He said, well, go put some ice on it. And for 2 hours, this was the first play of the scrimmage. I put a little baggie, like we put a sandwich in when you and I were going to school. And they put ice in it. I stuck it in there. My parents were both at work. They came and picked me up, took me to the office afterwards. We'd have cell phones. Called my dad. They came and got me, took me to the hospital. Doctor says 20 minutes later, with all the infection, I had to cut your finger off. And that's on my throwing hand. And you know what? We didn't sue anybody. Coach didn't apologize the next week. It was just a simply competitive. We're in the heat of battle. Crap happened. Today, he'd have been fired. We'd have never let him coach again. The stuff we do with this, you can't even coach a player. You can't offend anybody. And the optics and the cameras, it's pathetic.
It's a joke.
It's quite frankly an embarrassment. And shame on Jonathan Gannon for apologizing publicly. If he wants to go to the player and says, here's what you got to understand, and shame on but it's the Arizona Cardinals. Does it shock you? They've been doing stuff like this forever. No wonder. Well, there's still the Arizona
family.
Cardinals.
It's a joke.
Yeah. And you get to a point, Grant, when you see people when there's people say back, that coach ought to be ashamed of his. How dare him put his hand on a player? I'm so over the sensitivity and the softness. This is as close to flag football and as close to the pussification you'll ever see in sports.
It's joke.
Awful.
Hey, a week ago Sunday, the Giants were at home against the Chiefs, and Travis Kelce lost control and went up to Andy Reid, chest bumped into him, and Andy Reid was asked about it after the game and said, I like it. I like that fire, right? It wasn't a big deal, and those guys were really going at it. I mean, it's football. It's sports. I'm with you. This actually turns me off. I mean, I love the NFL like you do. Well, you played in the NFL. You're an alum of the NFL. This is – and where are we going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if a coach is going to be fined for yelling at the player? It's a turnoff,
well,
Sean. It's a turnoff.
You see that flag football you're going to be watching like the Pro Bowl?
What a joke.
We're close to doing that pretty soon now, how it is. And you know why Andy Reid doesn't? Because he understands competition, heat of battle. And Andy Reid grew up in the LDS church. So cussing, was he supposed to be offended? Man, that's against my religion. I mean, just the silly things, the simple competition of, and you know what? It's an emotional game. And those same people who are pissed off at Coach Gannon and what happened and the optics of it are the same people that when a guy hits a guy hard or cheap shots him, says, oh, man, the players are soft in the league. We can't – they're the same people. But they can't handle a guy getting in a guy's kitchen who cost his team and made a heinous error and should not be on a roster this week because he made an error that not only cost his team, but it's as selfish as it gets in sports.
Unbelievable. Sean, the quarterback position, we've talked a lot about Baker Mayfield and how many stops it took for him to get to a good situation with experience, comfortable. Sam Darnold, same thing. Minnesota last year, Seattle this year. And then I look at Daniel Jones. And the Colts, to me, are one of the best teams in football when I watch them play at 4-1. When you look at Daniel Jones right now, what do you see in him?
Yeah, and those three names you mentioned, Grant, are all, in my opinion, in the top five. It's a quarterback, the top five of the MVP. Baker Mayfield's the MVP of this league right now. The way he's playing, and then just the attitude and what he's bringing out in his players. But Daniel Jones, you know what I see? I see a guy that we should have trusted Cutcliffe more than we trusted the guys that coached him and taught him at the Giants. That's what we should have trusted. I mean, David Cutcliffe is sworn by him, had him at Duke, and David Cutcliffe, he'll tell you today that he knows what kind of player Daniel Jones is going to be. Sometimes when you get in the right environment, not that the Giants guys couldn't coach, and a believability and a change of scenery and some patience with a guy. See, Daniel Jones, if you remember, Grant, people vilified him for being a first-round pick as if it was his fault. All he did was play good enough, and they held it against him forever. Every mistake was heightened. Every touchdown pass he threw was lucky. Well, he goes to a place that's instilled. He let him compete. He won the job, and it's changed just like it has Sam, just like it did for Geno Smith for a while, just like it's done for Baker Mayfield. Sometimes you get to the right place and enough's enough and you fight back the right way. He's being properly coached. He's on a good team. And he right now, if you're not giving it to Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones I had as my number 2 pick, and Darnold, Josh Allen, you can make the argument for 3 other quarterbacks. But those guys are at the top of the heap, and look what they're doing for their teams. And don't tell me one guy doesn't matter, because one guy does matter, especially at that position when guys now start to believe, you know what? If Daniel Jones is expecting this from him, look what he's been through in Baker Mayfield. We can rally around that guy, and we can extend the way we play and play better. It permeates. And Daniel Jones is playing as well as anybody in the league with his arms and decisions and with his legs.
I am so glad that you talked about where a player was taken in the draft. I contend that if Brock Purdy had been taken 3rd by the 49ers and Trey Lance had been taken with the last pick in the draft, the perception on Purdy would be completely different than it is now. There are still his detractors and his critics out there that say, oh, he was the last player taken on the draft, blah, blah, blah. But again, it's all the numbers. It's all in the mind instead of people just evaluating a player on the field.
Yeah, it's as if social media or fans or us in the media know more than the guys that are in the room with them every day, right? That watch thousands of hours of tape, not a 3-hour football game in 60 plays that you watched him play a couple games in college and said, well, I watched Iowa State a couple times. He wasn't that good. I saw him get beat by Michigan. You know, I saw Oklahoma beat him. And then he gets there, and the stigma will always follow him around. Grant, because you know what? Even if he was the MVP this year or he wins the MVP next year, the second he goes through a struggle or a game or a streak or two, you know what you'll hear? Or you'll get some national, I don't even need to tell you the names. You know the names, these analysts on national TV that are looking for an agenda. You know exactly the guys I'm talking about. Yep. I don't even need to name them because it's his flashing neon sign as there is. They would have said, see, yeah, that guy, you see, the evaluators didn't know what they were talking about. See, 2 bad games in a row. And that could be after 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl MVP if he did, winning 3 rings, and then throwing the ball to the other team for 2 games in a row. Yep. Now, see, he should have been. That's why it was a 7th-round pick. But you're right. If he was the 3rd pick of this draft, people right now would be saying, we got a future star on our hands who's already in his early part of his career played great football. And they're getting great play from Mac Jones, too, who teams have quit on. It's a novel concept, getting coached properly. The impatience and the instant gratification we have and the selective visuals and optics we have for different quarterbacks is appalling at times in this league. It really is.
Sean, if I take you back to week 1, Sunday night, the great matchup with Baltimore and Buffalo, which was just an unbelievable game. I'm watching that game with my buddy, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, Baltimore really looks like the team. I go, they really look good, even though I saw some defensive deficiencies. And then they had the Derrick Henry fumble with 3.5 minutes left. They're 1-4 now. They look lost. And Sean, defensively, I can't believe I'm watching a Baltimore Ravens team. And yeah, I know they're down a couple of guys, but they can't stop anybody. They look horrible.
It's awful. And you know what, Grant, was the last time I said to you, the one is normally when the Ravens play and a starter gets hurt, there's a backup. There's not a big distance between the backup player and the starter. they close that gap, right? Their depth has always been good.
Yep.
And Ozzie Newsome in this for the last 15, it's been a great organization. Owner stays out of it. He lets them coach. He lets them do the GM and the scouting, and the players play. Their depth has always been really good. Their physicality, and you mentioned it, Grant, early on, they were even having some physicality structure problems early on with their starters. So something's not right there. And the loss, the gap between the starters and the backups it's almost unwatchable. And I watched an average Texans team on offense carve them up like they were the Kansas City Chiefs of their big Super Bowl runs. And Baltimore, listen, they're not coming back because you don't fix physicality. Now they'll get better when their starters are back. They'd have to make one hell of a run to come down from 1-4 and stay fully healthy the rest of the year and play it. We don't ever have this conversation about the Baltimore Ravens. And I know injuries matter, but this is a team that was able to overcome those and at least hang around. They look like when we're talking about what the Saints have looked like, what the Jets have looked like. Their defense is no better than those teams right now. And it's really odd to watch. And for an organization that I hold in the highest regard, they feel like a bye week right now. And the Texans put them through one last week.
Raise your hand if you didn't have Texas or Penn State in your top 25 in the first week of October. Sean, when I talk about Texas, was everybody just wrong about Arch Manning?
I think you're wrong. I think they know that we all had them over-publicized, the whole team. Their offensive line, I think they lost four starters to Sundays. Now, I don't know how many of them made a Sunday team, but lost 4 starters, and that hasn't gotten better. We know they can run the football, but they got pushed around by Florida on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And Grant, doesn't it normally, think about all those years you've watched and we watch and we talk weekly. It comes down to this. If you have these two, you'll survive. Physicality on both lines, your front 7, your down 4, 3, and your offensive line, and a quarterback that's a playmaker, right? You can survive it. Well, listen, right now, think about let me just do it. Lenore Sellers, Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Arch Manning, Drew Aller. Think about the guys that people had ranked as the top quarterbacks in the country and for the draft. Not a one of them's playing good football. Not a one of them. And Nuss, the Lagway in Florida until last week's been banged up. He struggled more at picks than touchdowns. I mean, it's been a hard watch. I haven't seen top-notch quarterback play this bad for the big schools in quite some time. So that being said, I didn't see it coming with them, at least this bad. But I knew there'd be some growing pains because Arch Manning's, aside from the pressure I have in the name, even if he played good, it wouldn't be good enough for some. But Grant, he misses easy stuff, his mechanics, and you can see he's laboring. It's extremely rigid. I believe this, and I hate saying it because I know your affinity for the Mannings, and I feel the same way. I love them, the entire family, the dad. I love them. But we got to be honest about it. If this was Quinn Ewers doing this, Arch Manning would have been starting in place of him when Ewers was there.
No question.
You get my point? If it didn't have this name, and I understand the name, and I think he can overcome it because I know he's going to study and prepare. But it's hard to fix mechanics during the season because you're working on game plans, and he's missing easy stuff. Then he'll make a great throw. Then he'll go through 2 series where he looks confused and the mechanics are suffering. He would not be starting for this team because you went from the number 1 team in the country to a team right now that has got 2 more losses at least on their schedule if they play like this, at least. So Arch is part of it. Offensive line, it's not just him. It's not fair to just put it on him, but I would have never thought I'd see this average or below average a start. And James Franklin just doesn't win big games. Good coach, not a great coach.
4-21 against top 10 teams, Sean. 4-21 against top 10 teams.
That's it. That's evidence. We can say it's not hot take. It's not hyperbolic. It's a fact. And to go on the road to play against a team that hasn't led for 1 snap the entire year,
right?
And get beat after you would normally come off those games that you got beat by Oregon and say, you know what, we're about to send a loud message after that embarrassment, and they didn't. James Franklin gets him to a level, but he can't get on top of the fence and jump over it. Good coach, not a great coach. And Penn State, again, like Texas, like Clemson, like a few other teams, highly overrated this year. Even LSU. Now, can they fix it? Maybe. But right now, none of them can touch Oregon or Ohio State or, quite frankly, the Miami Hurricanes, who have gotten much better. And what do they all have in common? Their quarterbacks are making plays, they're physical, and they dominate the line of scrimmage. There is no secret to this. And you don't find $100,000 on a coach who's just trying to teach his kids how to quit making mistakes and how to get physical. It's an embarrassment.
Sean, I want to ask you about the Rockets. And I know right now with your duties, people are probably still in mourning over the collapse of the Astros at the end of the regular season. And a lot of people are talking Texas football and the Texans. But when I look at the Rockets, give me your thoughts. I mean, this is a new look team in the sense that you make a big trade in the offseason, but now you lose Fred VanVleet for the year. What do you think you're going to do at the point guard? And what's your read on this team?
You know, I like him, and Ime Udoka is really good, Grant. I think you know this. I mean, you're an expert in covering the NBA because, you know, we overuse the word culture a little much. You know, if all of a sudden somebody wins 3 games in a row because a new coach, man, there's been a culture. We heard it in the Jets. There's a culture change. Well, they're struggling. We hear it all the time, right? It's just a go-to. Now, sometimes it's relevant and it applies. It applies here. He came into a team that did not, and I love Coach Silas. He was a really good assistant and didn't have a full cupboard when he was with the Rockets. But you brought a guy in who immediately brought, you know, good teaching, good coaching, and he made them play defense. Almost to the point like you see Kelvin Sampson, where if you don't play defense, you're coming over and sitting by me. So there's a commitment and a buy-in on the defensive end. And then you get rid of Jalen Green, who is a great scorer, but wasn't a great scorer, and you can't manage that in the postseason. He was a big reason. 6 of the 7 games, he was non-existent against the Golden State Warriors. So you had to move him on. They had to, finish second in the West as far as record goes. And they've got all the pieces. They got perimeter shooting. KD can score 25 falling out of bed. They've got some attitude. They can bang you up front. They got 3-and-D. Jabari Smith's getting better. You know how Tari Eason and the big fella, they're good. They've got every element you need. But losing a point guard on a team, now Fred he could have backed off on the scoring, right? You had KD and the perimeter scoring. They didn't need him to score. At times they needed Fred to do that. And they still got some attitude that Dylan Brooks is gone, but he brought in and did a great job of helping the culture change and was exactly what Ime Udoka and the Rockets needed. Well, the key now here is, can you find the point guard? Is he in-house? Are you going to go outside the building to find him? We're going to find out in the preseason to replace a guy who is a champion in Toronto. And it's a big loss, Grant, but I still think this team is pretty loaded. They're deep, and there will be a commitment to defense. And now they got a guy that Jalen Green right now isn't, who's still a really good player. Green is. They got a guy who can close games out, and he still can in KD. So at least you have that experience saying, let me get the ball to this guy who wants the basketball when it's done. And I think he'll make a recommitment to perimeter defense because he's long, and I think the Rockets got a chance. Now, it ain't going to be easy because we know a couple teams in the West that are pretty damn good, but I think they're real, Grant. The question is, and that's such an important position, the leadership, because you lost some in Dylan Brooks, but you also, VanVleet, without his presence on the court, you got to find a true point guard that is a distributor and a facilitator, because you don't necessarily need 15, 18 points a game from that position on this current team.
Great stuff, Sean. Appreciate you. Enjoy the week, and we'll do it again next Tuesday. You be good, my friend.
No problem. And if you ever offend me on the radio by saying, hey, Sean, how you doing, and find me, we won't be friends, and it'll be softer than even the NFL is. And I'll be so offended, Grant. My feelings will be hurt.
Love you, buddy.
Have a great
Take
one,
care.
brother. I love you too, man. Thanks. All right.
Oh, my God. I love the fact that I already knew what Sean was going to say when I did my rant. I just knew it. Oh, my gosh. What is going on in our society? Oh, wow. Sean said it the best. All right, we'll take a time out. We'll pass that phone number out at 916-779-0929. How about the Blue Jays already up 2-0 in the first on the Yankees? They haven't come up to bat after Aaron Boone, before game 1, said we're not a bad team because of what their TV analyst, Buck Martinez, said. Yeah, you look real bad to me. Unbelievable. This is Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic got a crash I-80 East at County Road 32. You're backed up to Olive Drive. After this, no delays connecting to 50. On 50, traffic is slow both ways. In pockets between I-80 and East to Howe Avenue, also slower I-5 both ways in between 50 and the Eisenhower Highway. Broken down vehicle center lane on the Cap City Freeway West at Exposition Boulevard. A 20-minute backup with the ride home added behind it. With twice an hour traffic, I'm KT on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Hey, come on in.
Guys. Hi, Jack. In our subdivision?
Yeah, I saw your Suburban out front, so I thought I'd see how your kitchen and bath remodel was going.
We're delayed.
Oh, watch your step.
Waiting on subs.
Contractors?
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't go with Kitchen Mart?
No, why?
Nothing. That's just why we went with Kitchen Mart. They don't use subs.
No subs? No subs?
Yeah, with the exception of something very specialized, Kitchen Mart does everything in-house so they can finish on time and on budget. So your cabinets, countertops, plumbing, drywall, electric, and your contractor pulled permits, right? That's the law.
Was he supposed to?
Well, you mean supposed to?
What'd I say?
Sub.
Sub?
Sub.
Remodeling your kitchen or bath? 20,000 ecstatic customers agree. No subs means Kitchen Mart's in-house designers, craftsmen, and installers do it right and finish on time and on budget. Kitchen Mart, with 2 showrooms in Sacramento and Rockland. Call 362-7080 or go to kitchenmart.net for a free home appointment.
Kitchen and bath, no one does it better than Kitchen Mart.
The most trusted name in kitchen and bath remodeling since 1976.
Hey, it's Grant Napear. Do you need a maintenance check or an emergency repair on a heating or cooling unit? DAS Mechanical will take care of all of your heating, cooling, ventilation, and energy needs. DAS Mechanical will provide you with a full consultation. They'll explain all of your available options so that you can choose the system that's right for your home or business. And DAS Mechanical serves both residential and commercial clients, and they offer a variety of money-saving solutions. Go check out their website, dasmechanical.org, and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their best of awards. And remember, special financing is available, including 0% interest for 18 months. Again, check out dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. Their awesome reviews, their awards. Can't go wrong at dasmechanical.org.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Looking for the best happy hour in town? Head to Bennett's, where every day from 2 to 6, you'll find flavor, fun, and serious value. Enjoy over 10 wines by the glass, country club-style cocktails like lemon drops, skinny margaritas, and crave-worthy share plates. Short rib tacos, chicken wings, calamari, and more, starting at just $6. It's upscale without the uptight. 3 locations, Roseville, Rockland, and Sacramento. Join us today or check out the menu at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Always love talking to Sean Salisbury. 916-779-0929. Coming up tonight at 7 o'clock over on my YouTube channel. I'll have my open forum Tuesday. Rhino's got the King's Court, 10 a.m. on your weekdays. And then pretty soon, once the regular season hits, we'll be doing all of our other shows on YouTube, including every post-game show on If You Don't Like That. So hope you can join us for that. We have a lively session after every game. We take phone calls. At times, Jerry Reynolds joins us, and we have a lot of fun, Rhino. I can't wait. It's right around the corner, buddy.
We are right there, Napes. No King's Court tomorrow, everybody. I will be at Shoot Around, but
that's right.
We'll be back at it on Thursday and Friday.
All right. Your thoughts on Sean said he agrees with me about the fine of $100,000. What side of the fence are you on in regards to the fine that the Cardinals gave their head coach?
Disagrees. Well, yeah, he agrees with you about it. Got it. Yeah, I'm 100% there. What are they doing? My only question is there something we don't know? Because you have a team apology, a public apology, and now the team finds the coach. Because if it was something we didn't know, wouldn't we be approaching like grounds for dismissal with this much noise that you're now bringing to the situation?
Exactly. I think we would have known already if there had been something very, very egregious that happened. I think it would be reported. I think that it would have already been made public. I knew Sean would agree with me. There was no doubt in my mind. I know how he thinks. I've known Sean for a long time, but I was just curious what your thoughts were.
He's right, though, about football and the way it's moving. It's getting softer and softer and softer, and the flags are showing up more and more and more.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the game coming up tomorrow. It is a preseason game. Doug said today, correct me if I'm wrong, that he is going to play the starters, and that with only 4 preseason games, I kind of got the impression they don't expect everyone to play, even though it's preseason, because they have a lot of things to work on. So what are you expecting to see tomorrow?
I would expect to see the starters first and third quarter. That's my general expectation. I think as the game goes along, probably late third, early fourth, that's where Doug might go a little bit deeper into the bench. Grant, he's got to get some of those guys a look here and there. Probably dress rehearsal will be the third preseason game. How about you?
I'm looking forward to these four things. I'm looking forward to seeing Nick Clifford play against NBA caliber competition. Max Reynaud in the same vein. I want to see Devin Carter get on the floor because I've been hearing great things about his summer, even though maybe the summer league you would say, well, and then I want to see Isaac Jones because we just talked about this with Jerry Reynolds, and I know you're high on him. I want to see during these four preseason games if he's somebody that I can count on or expect to be in the 10-man rotation.
Can you get enough from 4 games to put him in that category?
You have to. What else are you going to go by? You have practices and you have the preseason games.
Yeah. I think the one thing we need to be careful of is we can't jump to assumptions. If Doug doesn't have Dennis, or if he doesn't have Dylan or certain guys that are in the lineup or in the rotation tomorrow night, or if things look really good. Grant, you remember the first preseason game last year where DeMar DeRozan came out just on fire? It's like, oh, the offense has arrived. We have a mid-range threat. Now we're a threat from all 3 tiers in the half court. You got to let it play itself out. I also want to see what Doug does with Dennis Schroeder. I want to see Dennis's approach to the game because there's been so much built up about the facilitator, the pressure, but he's going to be 32, Grant, and a lot of the focus has been on Dennis Schroeder during training camp. In fact, he came up multiple times today. DeMar DeRozan talked about Dennis.
I mean, most definitely, especially with Dennis. We got a point guard like Dennis. His capability of getting downhill, his passing, his finishing, his creativity, it's amazing. So it makes it a lot easier for us. When he had that trade off Chris.
Well, you talk about Dennis being 32. He's 4 years younger than Steph Curry.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And so Steve Nash, had longevity, well into his 30s. Everyone's different. I just think the Kings are significantly improved with Dennis Schroeder. And I think I said this when they acquired him. Yeah, I think they paid too much, but you have to pay more to get a player to come to Sacramento. I think Dennis Schroeder is going to be a fan favorite. I think the fans are going to love him.
I agree. He seems to be a favorite with the guys in the building. At least everybody's talking about the spacing within the offense, which points the light a different direction. Zach LaVine was hit and miss last year, and we could say, well, as part of the point guard problem too, he was asked to bring the ball up. I want to look at Zach and see if he looks comfortable because a lot of the time last year, he did not look comfortable. Today, he was asked about how his game is fitting into the wrinkles that Doug Christie has put into the offense. And immediately, he talked about Dennis Schroeder as well.
I mean, I've been in so many offenses in my career. It's not a lot different than, what we missed custom to. I think having Dennis out there has been big. For me and a lot of the guys to where he's been a vet. He's been in big-time games, and he knows how to calm down on the situations, get guys the ball. And then let's just see how we play off each other.
Because, Grant, the only thing that calmed down situations last year for the Kings was DeMar DeRozan in the mid-range game.
Well, very true. And if you don't mind me following up on Dennis Schroeder, because we talked about the most valuable player in terms of guys that the Kings just cannot afford to lose. And we both agreed that it would be Sabonis, number 1, and Schroeder, number 2. And just based on all of the comments that we continue to hear from the players about Schroeder's presence on the team, let's hope he can play close to 82 games. All right. He's durable and he seems to be in really good condition. Injuries have not really been part of his lifestyle, in his career, I believe, lately. He's been well-traveled, okay? He's been well-traveled, but like in the 22-23 season, he played 66 games, but then the year after he played 80 games. Last year he played 80 games, right? Or excuse me, 2 years ago, he played 80 games.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, that was not a problem for him. Games played. Like, in other words, he's a guy that is there. He's not an injury-riddled guy in terms of his history. So I'm looking at this as somebody that's going to be able to be on the floor for most of the games. Now, we can't forecast, a freak injury, stepping on a foot. Those things happen. But, he's been durable in his career.
Yeah, he has. A lot of people have pointed to the Kings needing more structure. And when I think about Dennis in the areas or the teams he's had success with, it's been where there's more structure. He did not have a good run in Golden State. Didn't shoot the ball over 20% or 20, I believe 7%.
Correct.
During his time at Golden State. But with the Kings and Doug being open to molding things to the players that he has while staying within his concepts, I think this could be theoretically a good match. And like you said, the health is there.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine, somebody who you wonder about his body. He has not played as many games as Dennis Schroeder throughout his career. He's younger, though. I asked him, how's he holding up? How's he feeling headed into the first game?
I feel like I'm in the middle of training camp. I'm a little sore, but that's how it's supposed to be. Getting your body ready, and they're expecting us to be picking up. Obviously, you can't pick up 94 feet every single possession, but we've been running a lot. We've been playing a lot of defense. We don't have to use that aggression to make ourselves better.
What was
Well, it's good. You should be sore right now. That's what training camp is for. And these guys, here's the other. I don't worry about the vets as much, and I already know how the vets are going to play for the most part. I'm really curious to see how the younger players. One other thing on Schroeder, just to give you the numbers. So it was 75 games that he played last year, and the year before that, he played 80 of the 82 games. So again, he's been very durable.
It's exactly what you need in a point guard. We'll tease this for the next segment, but Zach LaVine really went out of his way for one of the rookies. Can't wait to share that story with you, Napes, and everybody listening.
Well, sounds good. I look forward to that. We've got a closing segment coming up. In addition, if you want to text the show or call the show, 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. Don't forget, at 6 o'clock, we replay the first hour of the show. So if you missed the first hour of today's show, you can listen to it at 6 o'clock. We're also available. You can stream the show on our Fox Sports Sacramento, KSAC YouTube page. And I put the show on my podcast platform about 30 minutes after we are off the air. You can check it out on your favorite podcast platform. It's available there. You can also follow me on X at Grant Napear Show. I put the shows there for you as well. All right, so why don't we do that? Why don't we take a break? We'll come back. We'll have more from Kings training camp, and we'll get you through the final segment on a busy Tuesday right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Broken down vehicle in your center lane, Cap City Freeway West at Exposition Boulevard, a 25-minute backup behind it with the ride home added to it. You're slow both ways on I-5 in between 50 and the Eisenhower Highway. 50 is slow in pockets both ways between I-80 and east to Howe Avenue. And it got a crash, I-80 eastbound at County Road 32. You're backed up to Olive Drive. With twice an hour traffic, I'm KT on Fox Sports Sacramento.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napear. Do you need a maintenance check or an emergency repair on a heating or cooling unit? DAS Mechanical will take care of all of your heating, cooling, ventilation, and energy needs. DAS Mechanical will provide you with a full consultation. They'll explain all of your available options so that you can choose the system that's right for your home or business. And DAS Mechanical serves both residential and commercial clients, and they offer a variety of money-saving solutions. Go check out their website, dasmechanical.org, and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their best of awards. And remember, special financing is available, including 0% interest for 18 months. Again, check out dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. Their awesome reviews, their awards. Can't go wrong at dasmechanical.org.
Remember, always be generous with the nutmeg. Just eyeball it.
Okay.
Mom's wisdom has served you well, but now it may be your turn to guide her.
Hey, I'm worried about Mom. She keeps forgetting her famous sweet potato pie recipe.
Some things come with age, sis.
And some don't.
Knowing the early signs of Alzheimer's in a loved one will help you make the best decisions for your family. Visit 10signs.org to learn the signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Final segment, Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento. My thanks to Jerry Reynolds and Sean Salisbury for coming on the show. So, Rhino, I want to hear the story from practice today and what you had to say about Zach LaVine.
Yeah, there was a lot of fun stuff going on as we detailed in hour one. Catch that as soon as we're off the air at the 6 o'clock hour. But Zach LaVine really went out of his way to help Max out, Max Reynaud. Did you know that Max does not have a driver's license?
Wow, I didn't know that.
You didn't? Okay. So if I didn't have a driver's license and I was like, hey, Napes, can I use your car to go take my test? What would you say?
I would say we got a real problem because I don't currently have a car. And so I would say you have to rent a car. But if I did have a car, I would say, you know what, Rhino? Absolutely 100%. Yes. Let me pick you up. Let me take you to the driver's test and I will let you use my car. Not a problem.
Wow. And that's assuming, we're talking about cars that are in the probably $70,000 to $300,000 range. Just making sure.
No, my car would be a little bit less of a range than that. Okay.
Yeah. So it got to us, or it got to somebody in the media, that Zach actually lent his car to Max to go take his driver's test and get his license. Here's Zach's reaction.
Did he say that? Yeah. He said he drove you a Ferrari. No, I did not give him that. I gave him a BMW. But Max, he's a rookie, man. I'm just trying to look out for the guys. He said he'd call for his license. I thought Max was like 24, by the way, too. So I was like, bro, you should have had your license about 5 years ago.
It's a good teammate.
Yeah. Gave him a BMW. How about that?
No, not a Ferrari. Just a BMW.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. That's great. I love to hear that. I want to see him with his license, though. Did he pass his test?
My guess is he did. We probably would have heard otherwise if he did not. Another note that has been going on since last season, and it's a little bit more topical, Drake, who has, I believe, been seen at Sacramento Kings games in the past. You never know. Like, he jumps around with his teams, but he's from Toronto, and there's been some banter back and forth. Not necessarily back from DeMar DeRozan, but some shots at DeMar DeRozan about his time in Toronto and not bringing a championship to Toronto. So, of course, with the Kings playing the Raptors in the first preseason game, DeMar was asked about that entire situation, and here's how he looks back on his time in Toronto.
No, I don't care what I did there. I put my life on the line. Every single night that I slept on that court, nothing and nobody can ever take that away. I don't get caught up in the shenanigans. All the bull crap that come with it. At the end of the day, I go out there. Every true fan and every person who know me there knows, I represent that place more than anybody who ever can do that. What you think?
He was great in Toronto. He always stands out to me. And then, of course, he was part of the big trade, and Kawhi Leonard came in, and they already had a really good team. And, Kyle Lowry played phenomenally well during that run in the postseason run, and they were able to win a championship. But, when I think of the Raptors through all of those years, to be honest with you, I think of DeMar DeRozan.
Amen. And great stint in San Antonio as well.
And as far as Drake, he has been in Sacramento. His call it whatever you want with the Ranadive family. Do you know that when the Kings went to India in 2019, they actually chartered Drake's aircraft?
Really?
Yep. They took 2 planes to India, and the team's plane was Drake's personal aircraft that they chartered.
Wow. A lot of room for one guy. And Drake.
Yeah, if you Google his airplane, it was it's pretty amazing. And so that's what they took over to India.
Must be a really good friend of
it wasn't free. They chartered it. It's not like Drake gave him the plane. It cost a lot of money to charter that aircraft to go to India.
Oh, I see.
And they were able to go nonstop both ways.
I'm missing the chartered part flying over my head. Forgive me, I'm only from a family of pilots.
Yes, that's no problem. But no, Drake did not just go, you can use my plane. No. They paid quite a bit for it.
Well, great. I think that's fair exchange. Use my plane and you can get some courtside tickets. Because, the fuel alone to get to India would only cost, maybe 4 Kings Row tickets?
The fuel alone would be very interesting to see with the fuel alone. I would guess, again, I'm guessing, I'm thinking $120,000 to $150,000.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. So I'm thinking the flight was, because we went the other way. When we flew, we made a stop in London, and I was very excited because on approach to refuel, we got struck by lightning.
What?
And I was very excited because I was actually looking out the window and saw the flash on the wing. And I was like, yeah, wow, this is cool. And everybody freaked out because it made a loud bang on the aircraft. And I knew right away that we got hit by lightning. And everyone was freaking out. And I'm like, relax, freaking relax. We got hit by lightning. Don't worry about it. Like, literally, freaking out. And Doug was sitting right next to me. Doug Christie was sitting right next to me. And he was freaking out. I'm like, dude, planes get hit by lightning all the time. Don't worry about it. And he's like, no. He was like literally like white knuckled next to me. And I'm like, dude, relax. It's okay.
Do you understand?
Don't worry about it.
I need to put that into Chat GBT. What the odds of being on a plane, getting hit by lightning, and surviving are?
Are you kidding me? Think about this. Planes get hit by lightning all the time. If planes got hit by lightning, and fell out of the sky, nobody would ever fly. Planes get hit by lightning a lot. I guarantee you've been on a plane that's been struck by lightning and not even known it. Guarantee it.
No way.
Are you, Ryan?
You're telling me birds are more dangerous to a plane than lightning?
Yes, much more. Absolutely. Birds will bring a plane down. Look at the plane that crashed in the Hudson River. Birds in an engine are one of the worst things that can happen to an aircraft. Lightning is no issue for an aircraft. Planes get struck by lightning all the time. I mean, how would you be able to fly if you were being brought down by lightning? What about the planes that fly into hurricanes to get to size of the eye and everything? You know the planes that fly into hurricanes? Are you familiar with those?
No, so I wouldn't be on one.
You know, for somebody that comes from a family of pilots, this is embarrassing. I'm now you're disappointing me right now.
Okay.
You've never seen the planes that fly into the eye of a hurricane to gauge the true essence of the powerful how powerful the storm.
Yes, I thought you were talking about commercial.
But no. But the planes are planes. It doesn't matter whether they're commercial or not. They're still getting hit by lightning. A plane's a plane. It doesn't matter whether it's a commercial aircraft or not. I mean, planes get hit by lightning all the time.
Per ChatGPT, commercial airliners are struck by lightning about once every 1,000 flight hours. On average, that's roughly once per year.
Have you seen how many planes are in the sky? If you go to my app, Flight Radar 24, and you look at all of the planes that are in the sky on a 24-hour period, it's immense. Like, you can't even believe it. Okay, like they're on top of planes get hit by lightning, and they are okay to get hit by lightning. And if they weren't, nobody would get into a cockpit and fly a plane if your plane was going to crash due to get hit by lightning.
Shouldn't you be flying above the clouds where the lightning's at?
Dude, when you land in bad weather, do you think like you circumvent the clouds? What happens when you fly into an airport and they're having a downpour and thunderstorms in the area? What are you going to like avoid the lightning? You can't avoid the lightning. Once in a while, your plane's going to get hit by lightning. It's not a big deal.
I had no idea.
Think about it. I mean, how many times have you been on a plane where you've landed in inclement weather?
A decent amount flying into San Diego with the fog.
Okay, well, there's electricity in the clouds. You know that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, guess what? When you are a plane and you're flying into an airport and there's bad weather and thunderstorms in the area, which happens every day in many places around the world, okay, you are going to encounter lightning strikes. Not every day, not every night, maybe once every 6 months, maybe once a year, but it's going to happen. It's part of flying. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, you know what? Let me correct myself. That's roughly once per plane per year.
Okay.
So there you go. You're right.
So,
I just, it seems more serious than it sounds.
All right. Well, the planes that the Kings fly on are over 30 years old. The old Delta 757s that most of the NBA teams use. So they've been in the air between 30 and 35 years. So if they get hit by lightning once a year, those planes then do the math. It's pretty simple. Commercial planes, and I'm going to keep it the commercial now because most of us fly on commercial. We don't fly on private. They're getting hit by lightning. They're made to get hit by lightning. There's no ground point, so the lightning goes through the aircraft, and it's built so it goes. It hits the plane and whatever it dissipates, and it's not a problem. But anyway, it was a loud boom, and I was like, "Oh, this is freaking great!" And I saw the lightning hit the wing, and I was like, I saw the flash, and it was a boom, and I was like, "Oh man, this is." I was like excited. I was like, wow, this is freaking great. I was really excited because I knew that there was not going to be a problem with the aircraft. But Doug was next to me, and Doug literally was like frightened. I'm like, dude, relax. It's okay.
Well, yeah, because it's over, and it's not like it'll probably strike again, but maybe it will. You know what's going to happen? As soon as this show gets off the air, I'm going to get dressed down. My phone's going to ring in about 9 minutes for my lack of knowledge about lightning in aviation.
Well, come on. You just think about it.
Well, Grant,
how
it's
could
not
a plane
something
fly
you think about.
if it was going to get brought down by lightning? There would never be anyone that would fly. There would be no such thing as a plane. Nobody would ever go in the air.
Well, yeah, Okay. I concede.
Thank you.
To be fair, you're on one far side of the spectrum where you are a travel and aviation enthusiast. You like watching planes land, you track flights, so you are more knowledgeable than the next person when it comes to these things.
Well, to me, no disrespect to you, all right, but I'm going to come down on you. It's common sense, dude. It's common sense. If you're flying in the air, okay, you know, hello. I mean, you're going to get hit by lightning sometimes. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it.
Grant, I don't remember signing up for Common Sense 101 at San Diego State.
Yeah, it's a good point right there. I went to Bowling Green, and I don't know how. Someone said, what about Airball 1 with the cable outside? Yeah, Airball 1, the Bach 111 had a cable going from the top of the nose, the top of the cockpit, to the tail, and that's how you move the rudder with the steel cable. Yep, the good old Bach 111. So even that plane, no problem getting hit by lightning.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Your dad's going to be very disappointed in you.
I just told you I'm going to get dressed down as soon as this
and you tell your dad that I'm shocked by his son's lack of knowledge on this topic.
Will do. You might even be getting a call from him apologizing personally.
Yeah. Wow. Again, if you're flying and you are in inclement weather, whether you're taking off or you're landing, and there are thunderstorms in the area, don't worry about it. You get hit by lightning, don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay? Unbelievable. I didn't think we'd be talking about this on the show today.
Thank you for the rant.
My rant is you. That's what I'm ranting on. I'm ranting on the fact that you come from a family of aviators and you don't know this. That's what I'm ranting on. Like, I don't even think that's possible. I mean, seriously. It's almost like you're trying to pull one over me, like you're trying to punk me here. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. Wow. Well, on that note, we got Kings basketball tomorrow, and they're taking on the Toronto Raptors at Golden One Center. We'll talk a lot of basketball on the show tomorrow. We'll give you the current events of everything that's going on, both in the baseball playoffs, the NFL, and college football. The baseball playoffs, 2 games going on currently in the Bigs with the Mariners and the Tigers. It's the Mariners on top 5-1, top of the 6th with that series tied at 1. The Yankees are in a survival mode. They're down 2-1 in the top of the 3rd. If Toronto wins, they advance to take on the winner of the Mariners and the Tigers in the ALCS. So that is the baseball story. Somebody said in the movies, the lightning always seems to strike the engine with impending danger. Well, I don't know about the movies, but in real life, don't worry about it. All right? Don't worry about it. Baseball, we get you caught up. Dodgers can complete the sweep of the Phils when they take on the Game 3 at Chavez Ravine. Again, my thanks today to Jerry Reynolds. My thanks to Sean Salisbury. My thanks to you, and I hope that I was able to give a little knowledge to not only Ryan, but others out there, that when you fly, the most dangerous part of your trip is getting to the airport. Always remember that. That's the most dangerous part of your trip, is arriving at the airport safely. Once you do that, you're okay. Talk to you tomorrow at 3 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Make it a good one, everybody.
Hey, come on
Hey,
in.
guys.
Hi, Jack. In our subdivision?
Yeah, I saw your Suburban out front, so I thought I'd see how your kitchen and bath remodel was going.
We're delayed.
Oh, watch your step.
Waiting on subs.
Contractors?
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't go with Kitchen Mart?
No, why?
Nothing. That's just why we went with Kitchen Mart. They don't use subs.
No subs?
No subs?
You know, with the exception of something very specialized, Kitchen Mart does everything in-house so they can finish on time and on budget. So your cabinets, countertops,
Subbed.
plumbing,
Subbed.
drywall,
Subbed,
electric,
subbed.
and your contractor pulled permits, right? That's the law.
Was he sub-osed to?
You mean supposed to?
What'd I I say?
Sub.
Sub?
Sub.
Remodeling your kitchen or bath? 20,000 ecstatic customers agree. No subs means Kitchen Mart's in-house designers, craftsmen, and installers do it right and finish on time and on budget. Kitchen Mart, with 2 showrooms in Sacramento and Rockland. Call 362-7080 or go to kitchenmart.net for a free home appointment.
Kitchen and bath, no one does it better than Kitchen Mart.
The most trusted name in kitchen and bath remodeling since 1976.
Downtown Ford of Sacramento is celebrating the fall by getting you equipped for a winter